Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rob's Gaming Table. I am Rob, and I'm here to play some Forgotten Fables, Wolves on the Westwind, published by... Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rob's Gaming Table. I am Rob, and I'm... Never mind, maybe not. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we're playing some digital today. So this is a... I've not played. I just dabbled with it, trying to figure out sound settings and stuff so far. So I did click through like a little bit. But today what we're playing, this game is on Steam, came out May 25th. You can see it here. Full disclosure, the publisher, who you guys might know if you've seen our Aventuria board game playthroughs on the channel. This is the same publisher as that, Ulysses Digital. They're the creators or publisher of the Dark Eye RPG, which was explained to me during my Aventuria streams as the German D&D RPG, basically. So it's like pretty popular in Germany. Anyways, they made the Aventuria board games. We played a few of them on the channel. This is based in that world. There's like a Viking theme to it though. And it's like a graphic novel with some, I guess, some branching paths, some choices you make through dialogue and some light combat. And I don't know, it's just like I don't know. You can see it here. They sent me a couple, like maybe a month ago, letting me know it was in like beta, and I could get a code then. And I kind of looked at it and thought, okay, it looks like it looks like something chill to play on stream with you guys and like kind of play through it and make choices and see. And I love the art in Aventuria. I like the world. It was fun. So yeah, I'm not opposed to playing more like it looks like more like a casual graphic novel, one of those kind of like super chill, like click through the story kind of games. Ones I think of like oh, what's another one like that? I can't remember now, but there's ones that are just like, they're not all about controlling like a 3D character and being the fastest on a controller. Yeah, I don't know. Like kind of like Heavy Rain, it comes to mind, like on PlayStation, those kind of games where they're pretty much just like a lot of dialogue, and this has just got some like light moving art in the background. But we're gonna check it out today. We're gonna play through it. Yeah, it came out like a couple weeks ago, May 25th. And like I said, it has DLC already, an art book soundtrack as a deluxe version. Somebody mentioned in the chat. Patrick C says the Steam summer sale's coming up. Might add this to the wish list. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. I'll play it today for a few hours. I assume it's not that short or long. I don't know. I'm not sure the length of it or anything. So I'm just going to play it today. We're going to try it out. You'll get my impressions as we play it. We'll have some fun playing along. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Like if if we beat the game in an hour, because it's only an hour, that's what happens. If we play for a few hours, and I don't want to keep playing and spoiling anything else, but there will be spoilers, I'm assuming. But there are branching paths, like different options to pick. So I'm assuming different things would happen based on different choices. But again, I don't know. So it says you forge your own path in the wake of rising tensions and dark omens manifesting across Aventuria. A powerful force long forgotten to the world is reawakening. On your way to the quiet Thorwalian town of Islisfell, you were swept up into a quest to destroy this evil before it can once again rain terror down on the north. Binding you by trial and fate to the children of Islifel's Hetman, a mysterious elf, and the Otajasko of the infamous Thorwalian raider, Orvir Eriksson. Yeah, I'm horrible at this stuff. I remember playing Aventuria and having trouble too. The Wolves on the Westwind, your choice will lead you down the path to redemption or condemnation, so tread carefully. So yeah, it looks like things, like we could die, we could have some fun, choose some bad things. Yeah, featuring 2 different playable characters with their own skills and stories, you may choose your own path through this highly flexible visual novel with outstanding artwork, intuitive and easy to learn mechanics, and a host of fascinating characters to meet along the way. Depending on your decisions, you will be accompanied by a group of different companions and face alternate endings. Okay. Creating your own version of the expansive story. Let's read more. Forgot. Oh, we got a new subscriber, Philippe Russo. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Hello. Hello, everybody in the live chat. Hello, if you're watching. Hello. Hey, Patrick, Dustin, Addy, Velco. What's going on? Dustin says, about to have a decent amount of downtime. I'm curious as to what this game is about. Well, I am too. So let's find out. Forgotten Fables Wolves on the Westwind is a new epic adventure taking place in the award-winning world of the Dark Eye RPG, enriched by 40 years of continuous work on this lore and history. The world of the Dark Eye is filled with adventure, mystery, and intrigue. Visit the lands of Thorwal in the cold north of Aventuria and navigate your path on board one of the most feared raiders of the north and his crew of warriors. You will need to gain the crew's respect and forge alliances on board in order to overcome not only your adversary, but also your own worst fears. Boom. Cool. Well, here's the requirements. I'm sure they're pretty light. I'm sure you can play this on a potato. Minimum. Oh, wait, you have to have a 64-bit processor and operating system? Oh, Windows 95 won't work. Never mind. Windows 7, Service Pack 1. What? Is that even legal to run? X64 dual core? Yes, you can run this on a potato. But 8 gigs of RAM, though, that's, I don't know. Can Windows 7 run 8 gigs of RAM? I don't know. It's been a while. Maybe Service Pack 1, yeah. But, like, this dual core X64, that's, like, very low. This is minimum, though. DirectX 11, 1 gig available storage space, so it's not that big. But they're recommending Windows 10, 3 gig dual core, 16 gigs of RAM. What? How does this need that much RAM? Get out of here, you liars. All right, we'll find out. I don't know. I think I have like 32 gigs of RAM in this thing, so it's not putting it through the paces. But hold on one sec. Let me just pop out a couple sticks of RAM. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that right now. All right. But yeah, there's your minimum requirements, your recommended requirements. So this is not much. You can play this on a laptop probably, no problem. Yeah, so let's take a look. Let's load it up. Anyone in the chat played this game? Anybody? Anybody know about this game? Heard about this game? I wouldn't have known about it unless I got an email from the publisher who, you know, has sent us stuff in the past for Aventuria. So I wouldn't have known if they didn't reach out. So yeah, just let me know if the sound is like too loud, too quiet for the game, you know, that kind of stuff. I was trying to mess with it, but you guys let me know. Hey, Matthew. Edgar says it's called We Don't Want to Optimize, so buy RAM. Yeah, Edgar, this does not feel like a recommended 16 gig RAM kind of game. Like 4 gigs maybe in your system, in your whole system for Windows and everything. Like if Windows 10 or lower. But yeah. All right. So I guess we'll just wait a sec for the delay and let you guys let me know if like the music is too loud. Music's pretty awesome though, by the way. I had it like on for a little bit while I was setting up and like rocking out a little bit to it. It's like pretty epic. We'll just let it play. I changed it was limit frames per second to 30. I bumped it up to 60 just because that's what the stream is also at. So I don't know if that'll cause problems, but that's the only setting I mess with other than a couple volumes. But you can change the text speed. Interface scale, I don't know if I'll mess with that, but VSync was on automatically. I don't know, but that's all you get. It's got interface sound, sound effects, music, and ambient music, so you can mess with all that. This is obviously not ambient music. I'll turn the ambient music down a little bit. Let's put to 30. You guys let me know. This art reminds me of Isofarian Guard a little. It might be the same artist. It might be the same artist. I don't know. I don't know who does the art for them. You know how we find out, though? We probably have to beat the game and see the credits, but I'm sure we can find in the Steam folder maybe the credits video file and just kind of look at that. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we'll skip that. A little bit too loud, Verena. Same. Says Addy. Oh, now different music's playing. Okay. I'll turn the music down to like 20. Accept. It's gonna play a whole bunch of different music tracks. I'm not sure if different tracks are louder and stuff like that than the epic intro one. So let's do a new game. Okay. There is no, like I looked, I was like, do I play a tutorial this morning before I start playing this? I want to play it blind. Like, I want to have fun experiencing things as we go through. Because it's like a graphic novel, right? Or a, you know, visual novel. So, like, you know, I don't want to pre-read it. But I don't see any tutorial here. Know how to play. Not even a PDF link, not a link to a website. Nothing. So, supposedly very intuitive. So let's figure it out all together. So we're playing new game, and like it said in the description on the Steam store, we can pick between 2 characters. And you know how this is going to roll. As usual, we're going to do a poll here, and you in the chat can decide who we're playing as. Who to play as. And we have Alric here. We'll read about them and look at their stats or whatever. And it's... Wait a second. Is Nadim... Have I played... I think Nadim we saw. Did we not see her in the Aventuria games? That name sounds familiar. Was it like Nadim's Palace or something? Or am I thinking of some other name? Okay, so I'm going to put a poll in the chat. If you're watching this live, go in the chat and vote. So let's talk about... The first option is Alric. He has 30 health, 18 endurance. You are Alric Durinald, a weathered mercenary from Andergast, who has wasted his life away fighting other people's battles. You came north to Thorwal protecting a Nostrian trader who was on his way to important talks with the hetman of Eiselsfell. I can't say these words. I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize to anyone who's like, you know, speaks German and can pronounce these things awesome. I'm horrible at it. I'm sorry. Abilities. You can spend 3 endurance to do battle sense. Battle sense is an ability that allows Ulrich to pick up on things others might miss, allowing him to spot weaknesses in combat, opponents, and find hidden advantages in many situations. Oh, my camera's on screen? What is happening? Thank you. How was I not on screen? What was going on there? That's weird. Okay, I turned it on again. I don't know why it was not there. Thank you, Mel. Mel just ran downstairs to tell me I was missing on the screen. I know you guys were enjoying not seeing my face, though, but I'm sorry. That is over. Yeah, Edgar, Nadim is the Caliph's daughter, right? From that palace like we were playing in? Is it from that? Oral Reach. It might say that in her story. But that name, it sounded familiar. I thought so. Addy is asking if there's replayability. Addy, you're asking me and I just told you I've never played the game before. I did read on the Steam thing just a few minutes ago how it says there's alternate endings and 2 characters to play as and choices to make during it. So I assume technically there is replayability you can put in the tagline, but whether the game feels fresh or fun that you want to replay it, that's 2 different things, right? We've talked about that before with board games. Just because you have, you know, a few extra cards in the deck that you'll see when you play a second time or more doesn't mean the game's fully replayable. It just might mean you play the same game, get the same vibes over and over again, and you don't really want to play it again. So, yeah, I don't know, Addy. You're asking strange questions. How dare you? Wait till at least I've played it a couple times, but I don't think I will, so we'll see. I feel like I'll just experience the story how I experience it here, and then you guys, if you want to play it on your own, you can play it, make different choices, play a different character, whatever. Yeah, so I don't spoil everything in the game. I don't know. That's the way I'm going to approach it. So, Forceful Blow for Ulrich. This ability allows Ulrich to strike with an overwhelming strong blow to knock opponents back, take them by surprise, and to get through a variety of obstacles that might stand in his way. Okay, so let's read Nadim. 18 health, and she's got 30 astral points. Okay, hold on. 30 health and 18 endurance. 18 health and 30 astral points. All right, you are Nadim Saba Dashdir, mage from the lands of Tulamides, struggling to complete your training. You came north to seek help from Runajasko, a community of Thorwalian magic users. Having been turned away, you are now returning south with no plan of what to do next. So there's an ability of 4 astral points. You can do a blinding flash. It's a spell that confuses targets' sense of sight so that they have trouble perceiving their surroundings. Then you have Orcanophaxius. Orcanophaxius, 10 astral points. It's an elemental spell that causes a jet of air to damage its target and blow it backwards. The spell may be used in combat to force enemies away, but also to affect the environment around Nadim. Edgar, I'll check that out. So Edgar's saying, if we Google, let's go Google. Okay, yeah, I could have just, yeah, I know, I could have just done it in the bar there. Okay, so if you Google Aventuria Nadim, oh, this guy comes up here. Rob's gaming table playing Aventuria card game, Nadim, the Caliph's daughter, solo playthrough. Okay, that's funny. Oh, but there is a Board Game Geek listing for the game. Yeah, so this is Nadim, the same character. That's cool. So we have some experience. This was Nadim. I don't know. Nadim looks a little different. I don't know what's happened. Assuming that's her. Okay. Anyways. But yeah, we played through that, so check that out on the channel. Alright. So yeah, you guys vote. Vote in the live chat. There's a poll up right now. You can choose whether they're playing Ulrich. Looks like he's out to kick some butt in combat. And then we have Nadim that's like got some magic. And has a little dagger in her belt there, so that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to close the poll. And we'll go with what you guys chose. 66% voted Ulrich. Okay, Ulrich's what we're doing. I thought Nadim would win for sure. All right, play as Ulrich. Act 1, chapter. And so it was. So here's how it plays. It's like literally like we're like reading a graphic novel, like reading a comic book, you know? Like, so we got some story here. Get down. And then you can, I think you hit spacebar. That'll click to the next one. Or you just click these double arrows to kind of go to the next thing. In the top left, you see our health and our endurance up there. And then a little settings menu here to go do other things. Save or options or back to the main menu. You hear the twang of a bowstring in enough time to throw the traitor you're escorting into cover. He leaps behind a bush in a blind panic as you skitter around a nearby tree to keep watch. This is Joel Sold. This road was supposed to be safe. I had it guaranteed. So now we get our first choice. You know, feel free to in the chat. I know there's like a 10-second delay. I'll try to play a little slow, but you guys let me know if there's some choice that we should be picking. Just yell it out in the chat. I'm not going to do polls for every single option that comes up. I'm assuming there'll be a lot. But we can tell him to be quiet. We need to ditch the cart or it's going to be fine. I think I'm just going to yell at him and tell him to be quiet, but I don't know. Let's see. Be quiet, says Ulrich. He swallows down a bundle of nerves as he looks at you. Then he peeks over the bush to find your pursuers. You contort yourself around to look behind the tree without giving the archers a target to hit. It's too dark to see them or their number clearly. You can hear them, though, getting closer quickly. Oh, this word, man. Islefsvel is close. We should make a run for it. You know he's not wrong, but you also know that unless you do something now, that alone will not be enough. Should we ditch the cart or fend the bandits off? I don't know. I don't want to ditch the cart. That's like giving away our loot, right? Our goodies. I don't know. Let's try to fend the bandits off, I think, right? Fight just as fight. Yeah, we got to fight then. I was thinking that too. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, Janet says fend them off. All right. Okay. Alrighty, that's the way we're going. As another arrow sails past, you growl and shake your head as you tighten your grip on your sword. Ulrich says, you need to go as quickly as you can. I'll fend them off. But go now. You pick him up by his collar and throw him back towards the road where he scrambles to stay upright. He casts one last desperate look towards you and the cart you now protect before he bolts away awkwardly. Another arrow flies past your face to pierce the cart's woodwork as you stand ready to protect it. Out of the shadows, you start to see the nearest of the bandits race towards you. One has followed you directly and relentlessly down the path. Uh-oh. The next appears from the verge, whirling an axe around as she goes. Uh-oh. One after another, they appear out of the darkness, and you know you'll be overrun in moments. Okay, so now it's giving us forceful blow at the top. This ability allows Ulrich to strike with an overwhelming strong blow to knock opponents back, take them by surprise, and to get through a variety of obstacles that might stand in his way. So now it's giving us options as these bandits. We could get the cart moving, which I don't know. We're about to be surrounded by these guys, so I don't think that's smart. Abandon the cart. Let's just boot it, or we spend 5 of our endurance to do a forceful blow. Now, I'm assuming since we chose to fight, we're going to try this forceful blow thing. Joel says, I prefer a game like Divinity 2 over this. This is a bit too dry for me. I wouldn't even compare those games at all, but I totally know what you mean. This is not like a full, detailed, stat, giant, AAA RPG, guys. This is a visual novel. This is chill time. This is like, chill back on the couch, bring this up on the TV, you know, and just click through it. Or, you know, play it on PC. This is definitely not like a super heavy game, like I said at the start. So, yeah, I don't know. Brandon says, keep the loot cart. All right, let's do a forceful blow. Let's see what happens. Thinking quickly, you focus all of your power into a kick at the cart's rear wheel that makes the wood creak and crack. Chillax. Yes, this is a chillax game. This is not like Divinity kind of game at all. But I know what you mean, Jose. I know what you mean. Like, you need a heavier game, and I can totally appreciate that. But every now and then, sometimes it's nice to just play through like a walking simulator kind of game or a visual novel kind of game. I find those good to like have variety and different kind of plays. Like sometimes I want to play video games. I'm like, you know, into Call of Duty. I'm like on the edge of my couch trying to twitch kill people fast and being very aggressive. But like sometimes I just want to chill. And instead of just watching like a movie, I want to kind of interact a little bit. That's why I love games like Heavy Rain, Firewatch. There's a whole bunch of those other like walking simulator ones. I love those games. I just played one time on PlayStation Plus. Gone Home, I think it was called. And I got hooked. Then all of a sudden I started looking for other games like that. This is kind of more on that kind of par, right? And there is a market for those games. There's a whole bunch of them. So if you like those kind of games, might be the game for you. If you don't like those games, if you played any of them, you might want to avoid, you know, if you've never played one or you played one and you don't like it, then this is not for you for sure. So just setting expectations here. I don't want this compared to like Final Fantasy or any kind of Dungeons and Dragons full RPG game or something. This is just a visual novel, okay? It's like a little interaction, little decision, alternate endings, 2 characters. We're having some fun, all right? Billy says, I love visual novels. I played a ton on my Vita until the Vita died. Thanks, Sony. Hold on, Billy. How long did your Vita survive, though? Because if you're complaining it lasted, like, you know, 15 years or something. I don't know when the Vita came out. That was a while ago, right? Like, Sony hasn't made portable systems in years. But I do know there's, like, people still have PSPs that work and stuff. So I guess if your Vita's dead already, that's kind of crappy. But that's the problem with it, like, moving parts in it, right? Like, that was, Vita was that disc-based? Or am I wrong? I'm thinking of the PSP, right? Like, a portable with moving parts, like, disc-based, that's a bad idea. That's like, that went out with the Discman, right? You need a portable that has, like, no moving parts, like SSDs and stuff. That's why the Switch and the Steam Deck are where it's at. Oh, is the cartridge base. Oh, okay. Interesting. Jess says, Rob needs a dumbed-down game because Folklore and Burn Cycle have burned his brain cells lately. I'm telling you, when I saw this game, though, like, I've for years, like, since PS3, I think it was, maybe it was early PS4 days, but when I started playing these, like, walking simulator games, you know, those chill games where you're just, like, kind of just running around exploring things and interacting with story and branching paths and stuff. I guess, like, Heavy Rain, I know that has a little more interaction, but it's basically, like, the same thing. It just looks very amazing graphically at the time. But I love those games. Or like Until Dawn. You know, like obviously those are like millions of dollars in budget, motion capture and all that stuff. But they're still literally the same thing. You're just clicking through options, branching paths. Just basically going through a visual novel, basically, but more like a visual TV show or movie. All right, you wait for the bandits to close in before kicking out, so that's the cart's axle buckles and gives way. One of the bandits shrieks in surprise as he hits a square in the head with a barrel. The second slows as another rolls towards her. The resulting confusion gives you enough of a chance to dodge away and escape, and so you run. You can already see Jostled ahead, flailing about as he struggles to keep up any kind of pace. Man, of course we start off with like an escort quest here, and we got this like useless guy with us. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this can be my kind of game. So focused are you on your escape that you don't even notice the town now clearly visible ahead. It's only when the first arrow sails past you in the other direction that you really focus on the palisade. People are now racing out of the town towards you. All well armed and well armored. Should we get jostled to safety or join the fight? I'll wait. I don't know, guys. Like, are we supposed to be going hard here, or are we like? Is this kind of like reminding us, like, you know, in like games when it's like the third time it's giving the option, like, okay, run, like we're giving you the option one more time, you know, like the third time. If you keep fighting, you know, things are gonna happen. It's like trying to teach us. Jess is funny. But we are going to play a more intense game tomorrow, assuming I just downloaded it earlier. I haven't played it yet either. Awaken Realms, Nemesis Distress. which looks like an FPS kind of game with the Nemesis board game theme on it, you know? Basically aliens. We'll be playing that tomorrow on stream, assuming it works. If not, I'll bump it to next week. But yeah, we'll play a more serious, kind of stressful game tomorrow. So today is relaxing. Of course, we have an arrow shot at us right here, and we have raiders trying to kill us with giant axes. But you get what I mean. Like, compared to, like, you know, some other games, we're relaxing right now. Patrick says, I'm already AP on this game. We are warrior. Yes, Addy. All right, join the fight. As the road between the palisade and the bandits becomes a hail of arrows, you see jostled back towards you. Go, go, says Ulrich. He has the good sense to listen to you and disappears through the throng of Thorwalian warriors that run to meet you. You feel a swell of confidence as cries ring out across the plains. These are the numbers you need for a fair fight. The real danger is past. Against all odds, you've actually made it to safety. It's not a long fight, and those who were chasing you are quickly routed by the town's defenders. They ask you many questions about the chase as they invite you into the town proper. And then you can finally rest a while, laying down your burdens until morning comes. Oh, there we go. Look at that change of scenery just like that. Boom, we're in town. It's a cold, bright sun that rises over the thatched roofs of Isleivsfell to greet you the next day. Even after years of training and experience, you still feel the aches and pains of your trials and tribulations. A gentle breeze tugs at your clothes, and the smell of salt on the air helps to keep you sharp. And the town wakes up around you as though nothing had ever happened. People open up their shops and services for the day. Seagulls caw overhead. I hear them. I do hear them in the background. I hear some ambiance of... I hear chickens. Do I hear a goat? I hear a goat. Maybe. I hear hustle and bustle. Thank you, Greg. Greg says, congrats on the 15,000. Greg, you're going to need to come to tomorrow's stream. Or no, 2 days. Saturday's stream, sorry. And give us our congrats then. I don't want to hear it until then. Okay? Okay, we're going to have our celebration on Saturday, Greg. Quick trying to jump the gun, okay? Jeez. Just kidding. Thank you, Greg. That on the house, Patrick's saying, is that a bird head on that house? I don't know. There's like a wolf up here on the left. This is all like Viking themed stuff, I think. Over the din, you hear the blowing of bellows and the pounding of a hammer against the steel as a blacksmith gets to work. Oh, here was a Thorwal warrior. Outlander. No sooner have you stopped at the market stand of freshly baked loaves and buns do you hear her call. You immediately recognize her as one of the warriors who came to your rescue at the palisade. Oh, thank you. Amongst the rest of the townsfolk, she stands out in a dress much richer and brighter in color. She's a baller. Definitely a baller. Estrid Ulfgarsdottir. We met briefly last night. Okay, good morning, we can say. Or the hetman's daughter? Or what can I do you for? I don't know. I think we just start off with a good morning. I'm going to just start off with a good morning. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to try to be too smart with her. All right. Ulrich says, good morning. I'm glad to meet you. Prosperity this time. Why am I reading today? Good morning. I'm glad to meet you properly this time. Indeed, let me be the first to give you a proper welcome to a place that starts with an I. We're going to call it I-Town from now on. I can only apologize for the chaos of your arrival. It was hardly your fault. What can I do? What can I do for you? Her brow furrows as she grimaces at you and becomes more serious. I'm afraid it's about the attack. My father wishes to speak to you about it. Aw, man. Come, you'll eat with us this morning. It's the least we can do. Much to the complaining of your empty stomach, you're torn away from breakfast to follow Estrid. She leads you further inland, jostling through the crowds as the town wakes up around you. I'll be honest with you, Outlander, this attack was quite troubling. We need to make sure nothing like this ever happens again if we can. We have a reputation to uphold. We can ask, what about patrols? It was supposed to be safe, or they were just bandits. I mean, they're just bandits. It's just like dime a dozen. All right. Let's I don't know, let's ask about patrols. I noticed there weren't any patrols on the roads. She chuckles and gives you a wry smile as she massages the muscles in her hands. It's been a long time since any thought it necessary to protect our lands with patrols. My father has worked hard to make I-Town safe. Those who break our laws are met either with justice or retribution. One way or another, it's quick, so most should know better than to ambush travelers here. That's what makes this attack so troubling. We must act quickly to find those responsible. Estrid falls darkly quiet after that. It makes you slightly more uneasy as you continue up the gentle slope towards the Hetman's Hall. The fight had been over almost as soon as it had started. Many of your attackers had fled at the first sight of defending warriors. But those who had helped you had been quick to usher you away to a longhouse to rest and recover. They had seemed a little on edge, but you thought it was simply down to the surprise of the attack. Now it seems that something larger was at work, and that the Hetman wants to speak to you about it is concerning. The noise of the town swells as its bustling streets awaken. But as you climb upwards, everything starts to feel just a little less cramped as the space between buildings grows. Soon you are in a wide open square, and Estrid is beckoning you towards a great hall that stands ancient and resolute before you. She pushes the huge double door to the hall open without knocking or waiting. I'm getting like Skyrim vibes here. I don't know what it is, but you're slightly taken aback by the sheer scale of the room you step into. Long benches flank the path to the Hetman's table, and huge chandeliers hang from the rafters. A handful of trophies are placed on the walls, a reminder of the triumph of those who have ruled in I-Town. The air is stale and reeks of food, fire, and sweat. Sounds like they're having a good time. Father, I found our guests. Estrid leads you to the table that sits at the back of the hall, positioned so that those sat there can watch over everyone. The Hetman looks up from his conversation at his daughter's call and quickly stands up as you approach. Oh, that guy looks like what's the actor I'm thinking of? What's his face look like? What's his name? I'm trying to think of a movie he's in. Like an older version. I can't remember. Throw some names in the chat. I'll let you know if you can guess the name. But his face. I'm trying to picture a movie. Anyways, Chris Christopherson, is that it? Let me look. Yeah, that 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name. Hold on, I'll bring it up here. For those who don't know. Yes, that is 100% the name I was looking for. Yeah. Is he not in like one of the Pee-wee movies? I swear he is. He's in like the circus one, right? It's like a musician. You need to find him on IMDb. I know that's bad. That's the movie I think of, but I was trying to think of something else. There's another movie too. Am I crazy? Let's see what he's known for. No, let's just go. Known for. Oh, he's in Blade. Mel Gibson's Payback. Oops. Anyways. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. That would have bothered me. He's in Blade. Yeah. That's what I've seen. That's probably what I first saw him in. Maybe. But I swear, he's in one of the Pee-wee movies, isn't he? Yeah, I'm crazy like that. That's right. Oh, he's done like voice acting. I know it's not on the screen right now, but he did some voice acting in like Fallout New Vegas. That's cool. And a game called Gun from PlayStation 2. Never heard of that game before. Yep, he was in Big Top Pee-wee. He was. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I just had to check and make sure. Okay, all right. Back to our regular scheduled programming. Okay. Hold on, automatically like pauses it. He greets you warmly and heartily with arms wide and a smile to match, bowing his head in your direction. Well met, Outlander. In Swafnir and Travia's names, you are most welcome here. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please sit, take your fill of food, and drink. A wide spread of meats, fish, and breads covers the central square of the table, in easy reach of the Hetman and his family. I can say thank you, Hetman. Or I can say you wanted to see me. Or I could say, this is quite a feast. Yeah, I'm going to say that one. This is quite a feast, Hetman. Thank you for the invitation. Ulfgar chuckles before sitting down to tuck into his own meal once more. I would be lying if I said there were no advantages to being Hetman. Please sit. All right, what is a Hetman? I must know. Is that like a Viking leader of some kind? I've never heard that before. I've heard of Jarl. Oh, it's a Polish or Cossack military commander, according to Google. So he's like a military leader, maybe? Maybe I'll look up Hetman Viking. I don't know. Whatever. He's the man in charge, I guess. Come, we must get to business. This is Brand. He's the town's Gaudi, and he's been an advisor to the Het person for many decades now. I don't trust this guy. I don't trust him already. He's evil. He's manipulating things. He's messing with things. I don't trust him. He's like that crazy guy from Lord of the Rings. You know, that's like, I got the mind control going on there. Yeah, I don't trust this guy. He's shady. Look at him. Okay, let's note that down, okay? Note that down. Do not trust Brand, okay? The town's Gaudi, the advisor. We don't trust him, okay? So if any of the chance gets, we stab him in the throat, okay? As early as we can to prevent all bad things from happening. He indicates an older, near-decrepit man in a heavy bundle of robes who sits and eats at the end of the table. Yeah, that's a trick. So I don't trust him. Brand gives you a long side glance and immediately unnerves you, but he says nothing and continues chewing. Without wasting another breath, the Hetman moves on to introduce the other younger man at the table. I believe you met my youngest, Raskir. Hey, sailor. Look at this guy. Thor called. He wants his look back. Might as well call him Viking Jafar. Nice, Patrick. So Raskir nods at you curtly as he throws a bite of bread into his mouth and picks up a tankard to drink from. Once again, he seems to look you up and down before he leans across the table to give you a strong handshake. Thank you again for escorting the Nostrain trader to our town. I'm sorry it wasn't as simple as suggested. The whole thing is rather troubling. A shame about the cart, or it's worth more coin, or you seem upset by this. I'm going to say a shame about the cart. I'm sad about losing our cart. It's only a shame that I had to destroy the cart so that we could slow the bandits down. It is, but the important thing is that the trader arrived safe and sound. He wished to trade while he was in I-Town, but that is not why he's here. Our talks are the important thing. He's got information. I will not let them be ruined by anyone, but definitely not by these peaceless snakes. Forgive my saying so, but you seem more upset by this than I'd expect. Raskir chuckles before taking a sip from his tankard and reaching forward to rip a handful of bread from the loaf. Do you know what it means to be peaceless, Outlander? I don't know. To be peaceless is the worst punishment a Thorwaller could face. It is the punishment we give to those who have committed terrible, terrible crimes. They are ashamed to their ancestors, and they have been stripped of all honor they had and can never and can ever have. Oh. They will never find peace with the gods. They will never fight at Zwafnir's side or drink at Tavia's table. That is why the peaceless are scorned and hide amongst themselves on the old port stones. For them to return in force to the mainland makes no sense. But if a group of them have, then they are in grave danger, and we must deal with them. An uncomfortable silence falls on the hall while you process what Raskir has said. Yes, Patrick says, LOL, those are some bedroom eyes he's giving you. I was thinking the same. I'm keeping my eyes focused actually on the bottom left of the screen, so I'm not drawn into a trance by his looks. So I'm focused on the text. I don't want to be manipulated. Like I don't trust the old guy we just met, but I don't trust this guy either. So we'll see. Out of it is the hetman that clears his throat to speak up, talking to you over his drink. I've called you here for your help, Outlander. You have already proven that you are a capable fighter. You could be of great help to us once again. And my son is right. We must deal with the peaceless. Today, he and Estrid will head out to find those that remain and end the threat before they can strike again. I'd like you to join them. Just the three of us. Or, this is an internal affair. Or, I planned to head south. Well, I don't know what I plan to do. I'm not really like, I don't know what I was gonna do. Like, I'm gonna try to avoid getting involved here just for fun. Let's just pick some stuff that's like probably out of the ordinary and see how the game handles it. So I plan to head south. No, I'm gonna say this is an internal affair. Like leave me out of your business, okay? This seems like an internal affair to me, for you and your warriors to deal with. There is nothing else to stop them attacking you again when you leave here. Oh yeah? And we've already saved your life once on your journey, Outlander. This is true. Raskir. Estrid rubs her eyes in frustration at Raskir's condor, but then quickly looks at you apologetically. Your help would be appreciated, Outlander, but it is not owed. You are our guest here. Yeah, where's my coin? I want coin if I'm getting involved here. She shouts an annoyed look at her brother, who sits back in his chair and drinks and eats quietly. With the room falling quiet again, you can't help but notice the small, niggling feeling in the back of your mind. You can't place it, but it only adds to the uneasiness that has been building in your chest all throughout the morning. I am happy to pay you, Outlander, if that's what it takes. That's right, we got there. We got there. Give me that money. And you're welcome to stay here as a guest. For a while, at least, if that suits you. Ah, Velko, I forgot about those games. The Telltale games, right? I really like the Telltale games that used to make these sort of games. Yes, there's like the Game of Thrones one, the Walking Dead one. Yeah, there's a whole bunch they made. I don't know, do they still make those games? Or is Telltale like gone out of business or something? Yeah, I used to love those games. I'll just quickly look that up. Oh, The Wolf Among Us. Yeah. They make that game too. Games. The Expanse. Oh, they made a Batman? Shadows Edition? Batman Enemy Within? Batman Telltale series? Tales of the Monkey Island? Strong Bad? Cool game for attractive people? Wallace and Gromit? Weren't they the ones that made like the Game of Thrones and the Walking Dead one? Or are those just like, they don't have licenses for those anymore? Or am I wrong? The Batman one is awesome? Yeah, but they're just like the same thing, kind of like visual, visual novels basically, right? Just like some light interaction, but you're just like playing through a story basically. I like that kind of stuff. Like a nice change of pace every now and then. It's like instead of just sitting there mindlessly like watching a TV show or a movie, it's like just that like little step towards like video game, like it's still interactive, which I like. I like that kind of stuff. Interesting. Telltale Game of Thrones? Yeah, they did do a Game of Thrones one. I thought so. 2014. And then they had like a Walking Dead, right? Whoops. So what? Yeah, The Walking Dead. They did like a whole episodic thing. Telltale Games, yeah. I thought so. I guess they just don't maybe have a license or that's like not available anymore. I don't know. Wikipedia. Holy crap. Yep, they got a lot of games they did. Oh, they were doing an untitled Stranger Things game that got canceled? No. Game of Thrones sequel that got canceled? Thanks to the ending of the TV show, I'm sure. Guardians of the Galaxy, they did one of those. Minecraft Story Mode, I didn't realize that was them. Interesting. Jurassic Park, they have a Jurassic Park game? Cool. Thank you, Elko, for that. I appreciate the little nostalgic trip there. Yes, they are in other games. I was trying to think of, at the start of the stream, I was trying to think of other story games that I played, like that kind of stuff. I forgot all about the Telltale ones. Oh, they're more or less a dead studio now, but yes, they did make Game of Thrones. Okay. You throw your batarang and can pick out targets and things? Oh, that's cool. All right. The three of them. Ulfgar is the only one who seems patient to await your answer. Estrid is at least trying to make her own uneasiness glancing... Estrid is trying to mask her own uneasiness, glancing up at you between small pickings of her food. Raskier, though, makes no effort to hide the fact that he is on edge, staring at you over his meal. How much? How much coin will you pay me? Let's get to business. Raskier snorts and then chuckles and shakes his head, drawing a dark look from his sister. The hetman quickly signals for both of them to settle down, shifting in his seat and putting a careful hand on the table. The same amount I paid for you to bring the trader here. More if it takes more than one day. There are things in motion that are beyond your control, Outlander. Oh, yeah, okay, old man, you stay out of this. Just pay up. The stranger at the end of the table has been so quiet throughout the meal that you had forgotten he was there. Now, though, you look at him as he spits out a fishbone and glances across to you. And under his gaze, you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand on end. I called it, man. Bran says it is the will of the Runjas that you arrived here. If they had wished to keep you in Nostria or anywhere in the south, they would not have brought you here. But here you are, and that you may aid us, so that you may aid us in this. The hetman did not wish for me to tell you. He thought you may doubt what the Runjas have revealed to us. One look back at the hetman tells you that he is feeling a measure of regret at the Gaudy's outbursts. But again, he awaits your response. I'm here by my choice, I can say. Or what did he say? Or what did they say? Sorry. Or it's good money. I don't believe in this religious phooey. I'm here by my choice. I chose to accept your contract. No one else did that for me. But you are here, Outlander, and the rune said you would be before you even arrived. The rune said an unknown warrior would aid us in what is to come. Until the Peaceless chased you to our doorstep, that made little sense, but now the fates have revealed it to us. I'm sorry that I wasn't more open with you until now. There is little more we can say now, Father. Either the Outlander will help us, or he won't. You're very conscious that all three of them now await your final answer. But as you sit in silent contemplation of his words, your eyes are drawn back across the room to the Gaudy. He has gone back to his own little world, chewing on some dried fish and staring off into some part of space. But you feel pressure building, left with very little time to think about your decision, especially with the hetman and his family have all now left their meals alone and are fully focused on you. Your mind teeters a little at the idea that your arrival in I-Town was preordained. The gods have never struck you as particularly forthcoming with their plans, if they ever had any. But there is little there's that niggling sensation again, chewing at the back of your mind. Are we agreed, Outlander? You sit stunned for one more moment. Then you are overwhelmed, and without realizing, you nod just once. It seems I must, Hetman. I'll help where I can. Then your word is a pledge to me. There is no hint of his jovial nature now. He is grim and reserved as he nods. You should all prepare to leave as soon as possible. Good hunting. Whoa, what is this we got here? So I got McDreamy over here staring at me with a glowing circle around him now. It's very, very mesmerizing. I must look away. I must look away. Let's pull either yes or yes. Yeah, I know that. Sometimes the options, I'm like, get out of here. They're not options. So I guess I'm clicking on this. Oh, okay, I see. So maybe I'll have multiple on this overworld map. Maybe we'll have multiple choices, like story branches or things we can do in different order. I'm hoping, and then we can kind of click on those. You meet with the Hetman's children, Estrid and Raskir, in order to prepare for the task ahead. I can cancel that. I'm going to try to click on random things and see what happens. Find some Easter eggs. I want to see what's underneath this bush on the right. Nope, it's nothing. Yeah, so I'm assuming we're just in town, and when we're ready to go. So I'm just going to take a quick 1-minute break. I will be right back. All right, we're back. Okay, let's continue. All right, so let's go. Start our Blessings of the Hunt. Chapter, Blessings of the Hunt. Preparations do not take long. You're told to bring as little as you can, for you'll move swiftly and sleep roughly should the need arise. You're well practiced for such exercises, and soon you are armored, and once again underway. You shouldn't be nervous as you walk back out of the Longhouse and through the town of Itown. Nerves before this kind of skirmish were honed out of you years ago. But something about the words of the old man, the Gaudi, were toying with your mind. Yeah, he's evil. Oh, did I miss what you said, Locator? I said it a little earlier, but you add inventory to the game and move combat to board, and this is the new descent. Oh. Ah ha ha. Thorwallers lean heavily on the will of their Orunjas. Over the years, you've heard many Thorwallers traveling further south talk about them very openly. Never has it affected you so personally. Is it really their will that you be here now? If so, why? Why not someone else? I'm the chosen one. These questions grate on you no matter how hard you fight to shake them off before you reach the palisade. Estrid and Raskir are waiting for you there. They both cut far more imposing figures, dressed and ready for a fight. They both acknowledge your arrival with a quiet nod, and they glance over your equipment to gauge your readiness. No, we don't need more soldiers. I'm a boss. Let's hunt some outlaws. Raskier quickly lets out a hearty laugh and points at you as he looks at his sister. I like this one. She gives you each a wry smile, but quickly motions for you both to calm down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Overconfidence will kill us faster than any peaceless can. Before we begin, we will ask Swafnir for a blessing. Will you join us? I don't know your prayers. That's not appropriate. Or why not Furin? Furin? I don't know what that means, but that's not appropriate. I don't think that's appropriate. It doesn't matter if you are not a Thorwaller. The gods will welcome it either way. Feel no pressure, Outlander. For us, this is tradition. It goes unnoticed by your brother, but you hear a very slight pause in her explanation. It is our duty to fulfill. For you, the offer is extended only if you wish for it. Though I'm sure the gods would welcome it. Then I'll join you. Estrid bows her head to respect your decision before moving to break the circle you have all formed in the street. As she walks away from you, you catch the subtle but strange look on her face, somewhere between disappointment and concern. Raskier, meanwhile, doesn't hide his joy at your decision. They line up next to each other a few steps out of their way of the path out of town. You stand next to Estrid, following their lead as they lie their weapons down at their feet. Raskier first bows his head and raises his hands over his axe, and his palms facing towards the heavens. Oh, Swafnir, brave conqueror, tireless hunter, watch over this axe and its bearer. He speaks with a ferocity that you were not quite expecting, letting his voice carry far with no hint of shame. In your name, and by your will, I go forth to fight, to build upon the honor of my forebears, to prepare for the final fight, to fulfill my destiny. That is my goal. Grant me but a piece of your godly power, and let me prevail. With that, he snatches his axe back up, though he waits where he stands for Estrid to say her prayer too. She repeats the prayer almost word for word, changing only axe for sword and shield. Then it is your turn. You take it slowly to make sure you do not get the words wrong. Your prayer is not as strong or confident as Estrid's, and certainly not as much as Raskir's. But he is nodding at you when you pick your sword back up to affirm you have done everything correctly. Estrid's expression is much harder to read, but she holds herself confidently as she double checks the strap of her vambraces. You take the lead, Outlander. Take us to where you were first attacked. We will pick up the trail from there. Chapter Manhunt. Let's get it on. It doesn't take long for you to reach the point where you remember ducking for cover. Hey, Brian. Shh. The cart lies abandoned in the middle of the road. Its right rear wheel buckled in from where you kicked it. But there are no signs of the wares that were being carried. Just a handful of arrows strewn about and light, confused footprints going this way and that about the place. They must have come back for the wares after they fled. At least that will make them easy to track. The three of you spend more time pacing the area, deducing which footprints are those you need. All of you are quiet as you work, focused, or perhaps conscious of falling, into the same trap again. But then you find them, heavy imprints of boots in the verge of the road, heading north. As you'd come from the southeast, you know these aren't yours, but they are fresh, definitely less than a day old. Do I inform the siblings or signal the siblings? I'm going to signal. On the off chance that you are not alone, you give a sharp whistle to get the siblings' attention. Yeah, let's kind of be sneaky about it, right? When they are both looking towards you, you indicate the direction the tracks lead in. Their faces fall when they see you pointing north, and they look around carefully looking carefully as they close towards you, maybe? That's very strange. They passed around I-Town to get here. They must have given it a wide berth. But there's nothing out there. A good day's march will already bring you to the foot of the Haldor Mountains. The perfect place to hide an encampment, away from any towns and any prying eyes. There could be more, or it's a long way to march, and they weren't seen? Yeah, somebody's in on it, like the old man with the cloak. Brand. Yeah, I'm going to ask these kind of questions. If they travel so far out in open plains, how are they not seen? No doubt they traveled by night, though that is a long way to come for such a small reward. But then, these people are peaceless. Maybe they are driven to desperation. Come, we should get along. We are already hours behind. Estrid quickens the pace as you leave the road behind and start your way across the country. The way is easy, at least. They are not flat plains you cross at a light. They are not flat plains you cross at a light jog, but only gently sloping hills. Okay. However, you see the mountains creeping towards you from the north, and you know the way will get harder. You run at a steady pace, keeping your breath controlled using years of training and experience. You run beside Raskir, who is heavier on foot and breath, even though he doesn't seem to struggle at all. In fact, with his great axe held tightly in one hand as he runs along, he seems very much at ease. As you run, he looks across at you and speaks with big gaps in which to breathe. You look as though you've done this before, Outlander. Are you an experienced tracker? Yes, I'm very experienced. Even when I was in the army, a lot of my work was chasing down outlaws and deserters. I didn't know that was the job of an army. Neither did I. You continue on at the pace good for a few hours without event. Further and further north you go, even closer to the snow-capped mountains. Estrid makes it her job to keep an eye on the tracks, which don't relent. The outlaws, the peaceless you follow, were not worried about being seen or covering the tracks, it seems. They were completely focused on their own goal, whatever that was, though Estrid says they were moving slower. The sun is at its peak when she stops your march at the top of a hill. Each climb is getting steadily harder, and all three of you are breathing deeply to recover while you can. Estrid, though, brings your attention to a forest at the foot of the mountains that you can now see quite clearly before you. It is still quite some distance away, but there is a settlement at the forest edge. Even so far away, you can see the smoke rising from it like a campfire to see for miles around. Nothing out here? What is that? Or do you think that's them? Do you think that's them? It must be. Their tracks still head north, and that is the only place between here and the Haldor Mountains. I thought Halvik had been abandoned decades ago. It is too far from the sea, too difficult to sustain. They must have run through the whole night to get there already. We should be careful. Is there a different approach? Or that is really perfect. That really is perfect, sorry. I don't know. Should be careful. If they are keeping watch, they might spot us on the hillside. We've made good time, though it's already midday. I think we can slow down. Not too much, though. Something's going on here, and I don't like it. Come on, and conserve your energy while you can. It's a grave silence that falls on you as you start forward again. It's different from before. You feel tension again, and not just your own, but theirs as well. Time seems to slow down as you prepare yourself for whatever encounter is to come. Already you feel all your muscles tense and tighten, and you feel your senses just that a little bit more on edge. It's as if your body knows more than you do that a difficult fight lies ahead of you. It must be mid-afternoon by the time you eventually arrive. Ooh, what's this place? As the earth starts to slope more steadily upwards underneath you, Estrid orders you to slow down again. Soon you are crawling through long grass slowly on your bellies as to not draw any unwanted attention. After what seems like an eternity like this, through the blades and reeds around you, you see Halvik. At least, you see parts of it. Where the long grass stops, a small dirt road cuts across you from west to east, leading off towards the mountains. Beyond that, you see the remains of a very small village built across the uneven land of the mountain's roots. The palisade blocks your view of most of the village, but you see some of the ruined rooftops. If it weren't for the two guards standing on the gateway, you'd say no one had lived here for a very long time. They're expecting trouble. Why else would they keep watch? It's two guards. We can take them. It's not just two. We could surprise them, or I don't like this. Now, you guys keep forgetting to put quotes, double quotes, you know, around when you say working. You guys keep forgetting that part. I don't know. Multitask. Like how would I say it's not just two when I'm not I'm just assuming there's more? Or we can surprise them, or I don't like this. I don't know. Any suggestions on this one? What would you guys choose? Anybody? Anybody in the chat? Yeah, what would you choose? Yes, Patrick. We can't truly multitask. I don't think the brain really works that way. Jess says surprise them. We could. I don't know if we will, but yes, we'll choose that. Thank you, Jess. We might be able to surprise them if we move quickly enough. And what if it goes wrong, Outlander? If they are alerted inside the village, all this could be over very quickly. He is right, Estrid. The element of surprise is with us. We can come back. We need to think quickly. Or, are you sure about this? Well, let's think quickly. We need to think of something quickly. Any which way. Try not to move the brush around you too much. You look across to Estrid, who is biting her lip in thought. Hold on. Look. Coming down the road. You crane your neck so that you can see whatever it is that Raskir has seen. From the west, another outlaw shoves a man down the path towards the abandoned village. Are they kidnapping people? The man is desperately trying to wrestle out of a thick and tight rope bonds around his hands. Immediately after them, another pair follow. Another outlaw and another prisoner. This one is more subdued. Yeah, she does not look impressed. And this guy is like yelling at her. What is going on now? They have prisoners. Thanks, Captain Obvious. That settles it, says Raskir. I'm going. Follow me or don't. Before he moves so much as an inch, Estrid lunges through the grass and snatches his arm tightly. Don't move. We can't let those people suffer, Estrid. There is no decision to be. They have 2 prisoners, which means they can kill one of them just to make a point. We have to be careful. I'm going to ask Estrid what she wants to do, because she's obviously like in charge here. What do you think we should do, Estrid? She takes another brief moment to collect her thoughts before she nods. We should double back and approach from the forest and try to sneak through the palisade from here, or from there. If we can do that, we can deal with any peaceless we come across quickly and quietly without raising an alarm. Then we can rescue the prisoners. We might even find a way to get them to safety before the fight begins in earnest. You hear Raskir let out a disgusted snort. And what if they kill the prisoners before we make it all the way around to the forest? What if we're delayed or caught? Those people cannot be allowed to die. What would you do then? There's only silence for a moment while the young Thorwalian warrior actually thinks. But then you hear a growling sigh. If we cannot storm the gates, then we shall ask for an invitation into the village. What? They won't attack us on sight. If we approach from the road, they won't attack us on sight. We can use that to get close, attack the guards before they can call for help, and storm the village without losing time. Beside you, Estrid shakes her head and then taps it gently against the floor in frustration. You cannot be that much of a fool, brother. We're outnumbered. That kind of attack will get us all killed. The prisoners have already long been dragged out of view, and there are no more hints as to the peaceless' true number. You simply do not have enough time to give either plan proper thought. Whichever plan you choose, there'll be limited time to execute. All right, I'm putting this on you guys. Which plan? Estrid's or Raskir's? If I spelled that right. So he's saying going in guns blazing, and she's being more like trying to be sneakier going around, but it might take too long. Patrick's, I'm already on Team Estrid. Okay, then vote that way. I put a poll in the live chat. If you are watching, you choose. Are we going with McDreamy Thor here? Or are we going with serious business Estrid? Keeps doing that. Let's leave it up for like a minute, and then we'll go on. Looks like the poll is tied. So if you are watching, go click the poll and vote. You could swing it. I'm just going to give it another few seconds and then end it. All right, poll is closed. That's what YouTube says here. Let's see if they after they validate the ballots. We're going with Estrid. 60%. A direct attack is too risky. We should go with Estrid's plan. Thank you, Outlander. You see her glance across at her brother with a tilt of her head that you recognize as a so there. Fine. So there. Fine. Let us hope that the gods understand your reasoning if this goes wrong, Estrid. More than anything else, Raskier sounds disappointed, but Estrid has already moved on, snaking slowly backwards. Come on, both of you. There's no time to lose. It takes some time to back out of view of the guards and then double around into the forest of Halvik. The telltale signs of autumn turning to winter are far clearer under the thick cover of the trees. A little snow has already come down from the mountains, and the air is cool and crisp. Okay, I like this little... I'm like, this is my kind of scene right here. Like, I do like the art, like the cool painting backgrounds, like they look kind of like oil paintings and stuff. I like that. There's little, like, red sparkles happening, the snow falling. The ambiance of the chirping and stuff. I don't know if you guys can hear all that well. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure what that's all about, but anyways. Some happy trees, exactly. It's good stuff. Yeah, the snow is awesome. Hey, James. Good day, all, says James. Just joining in. I have no idea of this game and what it is about. How cool. And my die is clear now. Oh, yes, you have a silver die now. Thank you for the long-term support. Much appreciated, James. Yes. So I think you've been supporting for like at least 6 months, I believe, is a silver. And then I think the gold, you see Jess has a gold. She's definitely better than you. Same with Brian Weaver in the chat also has a gold. So they're you know, they're the top of the podium. It's gold, Jess. I think that's a year. I mean, I set those so long ago. It's been a while. I'd have to check, and I don't even know where to check that, actually. Yeah, it goes like red, then bronze, silver, then gold. So, yes, long-time supporters. Yes, yes, yes. Patrick, you get your die by clicking the join button down below and supporting the channel monthly for $5 a month. I think it's $5 US, I think is what the default was there. But yeah, then you can also become a producer of the channel, join our Discord with all our other producers, get involved in some of our producer-only polls and things like that. Yeah. Get some emojis in the chat. We have a few. Not that many. It's not crazy. Oh, Patrick, you did Patreon. Yeah, yeah. There's no way for me to link Patreon with YouTube's donation thing, so I have no way of giving, like, Patreon's dice. So that's just, like, one thing that's different, but everything else is pretty much the same. So I do appreciate your support, Patrick. But yeah, the join button gets you the die in YouTube chat. That's, you know, it's up to you. Either way, I appreciate your support. Thank you. Yes, Jess, that is the correct emoji to use, yes. Your breath billows out in front of you as you run down the long, unused paths to make up for lost time. Estrid is focused on the task at hand, and Raskier seems more and more agitated the longer the journey takes. Eventually, though, you come to the palisade again, this time on the northwestern side of the village. Estrid orders you to stop. in the shadows of the stronger, taller trees, those that weren't cut away to make way for the palisade. You can see a gap in the tall fencing that the three of you could easily fit through. You just need to make sure it's safe. Estrid sneaks forward alone first, creeping over to peer through the gap in the palisade. After a few moments, she signals for you and Raskier to approach. You do your best not to disturb the stillness, as you make your way through the brush. At the palisade, you try to gauge what might be on the other side, but the angle is too oblique. You hear some voices, though, and Estrid raises a finger to her lips as she watches something you cannot see. When the voices die down, she nods and speaks in a breathless whisper. It doesn't look like they're on guard or patrol, at least not here. I can't see the prisoners, though. We will sneak through and then split up and make our own ways through the village. If we don't find them before we get to the square, that's where we'll surprise the peaceless. What about the outlaws or understood? What about the outlaws? What we do with the outlaws, we run into along the way. You noiselessly mouth your question, leaving it to hope that she can read your lips. In response, she scowls at you and shrugs. Deal with them quietly. You nod to show you understand and immediately turn your attention to the task at hand. You take another careful look and listen to make sure you don't run straight into the path of any peaceless. And then you push through the gap, shoulder first, noiselessly squeezing between the wooden uprights. Even before you are through, you start to take in your new surroundings as you sneak into Halvik. You take a moment to take stock of everything, but you can see and everything you can hear. Okay. It's not a bustling village, it's very quiet. There's not much around, I see. Everywhere you look, there are old, dilapidated wooden houses and gardens overrun with wildflowers. Broken cobblestone paths lead away deeper into the village, and the air stinks of rotting wood. Where it was quiet before, you now hear voices on the gentle wind, though you cannot see their source. All of a sudden, the tension feels much more than it did before. As quickly and quietly and as carefully as you can, you draw your sword and hold it at the ready. Behind you, Estrid and Raskier creep into the village too, staying quiet as they carefully look around. They quickly disappear around corners you can't follow, and your attention turns to the matter at hand. You must get to the village square unseen. Gather round, I shall now speak, says the priest. Okay. You aren't sure exactly where the voice is coming from, except the direction of the square, but it makes you freeze. We've been busy of late, and there have been many sacrifices. Good work has been done, and so it shall continue today. A roar of cheers rises up in response, which only serves to make you even more nervous. Much closer to you, you hear the sound of a door opening and realize someone is leaving the hut you stand beside. Before you can be seen, you dash to the wall of the building where crates and boxes lie, long abandoned and empty. You skirt behind them and quietly as you can, as an outlaw rounds the corner, walking down the path towards you. With bated breath, you wait and wonder for a moment whether your hastily chosen hiding spot will be seen. But the outlaw passes, and you swallow your nerves down as your focus gathers. It's only a matter of time before the other person rounds the same corner, and you need to be on your way. So now it's letting us try our other option of battle sense. Battle sense is an ability that allows Ulrich to pick up on things others might miss, allowing him to spot weaknesses in combat opponents and find hidden advantages in many situations. Well, I'm going to do some battle sense. With a deep breath, you ignore the ongoing speech and all the raucous cheers. Instead, you listen for any sound, any movement near that might tell you where the nearest outlaw is. It is the clink of their axe against their belt that you hear first, around the corner to your left. You have a window to sneak away unnoticed if you wish to use it. Shall I sneak away or shall we take out the outlaw? What do you guys think? I personally want to try to take him out or her out, but I don't know. We probably should sneak away. I don't know. I don't know what it was trying to say here. Thorwal says, is this the live audition of Rob for a job at Foreteller? No, I can't read. Like, you guys know, I stumble over, like, any pronunciations and stuff. I get lost. My reading comprehension's not that great. but my voice is extra soothing to listen to. But yeah, no. But I can see where you're getting that from, though. I'm also not doing the voice acting either very well. I forget which accents and stuff I'm using for different characters, and I get lost. It's time for action, says Patrick. All right, let's take him out. You decide instead to use the information to take the outlaw by surprise. As he walks around the corner, you dash towards him and cover his mouth with your hand to stop him from yelling out. You struggle to turn him around so that you can slip your sword arm around his neck and quietly choke him. He fights back, hitting you in the gut with his elbows until the stranglehold works, and he falls unconscious. So I just lost some health for doing that. There, you silently lie him down and dash to the next street, which leads you down a path of broken stone stairs. There, you find an alcove you can hide in to take stock. I think we were supposed to hide there. In the square, the peaceless seem to be gathered around this mysterious speaker. To your horror, you see one of the prisoners being dragged up next to the speaker by an outlaw with a dagger. Your people abandon you, says the priest. They call you peaceless. They say you will never have honor before the gods. Well, I ask you, my friends, what will their honor be worth when all of their gods are dead? There's another chorus of cheers from the crowd, and then you see the prisoner sob and bow his head. You need to get closer, but between you and what looks more and more like a sacrifice is another outlaw. She stands by the wall of a house across the steeped path, watching the ceremony with folded arms. There simply isn't time to sneak around her. You will need to fight through her to continue on your way. Now, I don't think forceful blow is the play here, because that will make noise and cause trouble. I want to try to take the outlaw out, which might lose health again. But let's try to be sneaky, sir. With the speaker's eyes locked on his passionate crowd, you're free to dash out of the shadows towards the outlaw. She must hear you and see you from the corner of her eye as she turns towards you before you reach out. Before she has time to cry out, you run into her, pushing her into the wall in an attempt to surprise her. She manages to get an axe between her body and your sword before you can silence her for good. With your sword caught, she twists her axe around and tries to use it to push you away from her. The two of you are stuck there for a moment as you reach to try to overpower the other. In the square, you hear another loud cry, and you feel time pressing on as you continue your struggle. You gauge that you can still make it in time if you strike quickly at the outlaw, but that will give her an opportunity to strike as well. Strike quickly or overpower? Overpower. No, not wanting to take the risk, you twist your sword. You twist your sword that you can press your free palm against its flat? I don't know, man. Okay. Then, with all your might, you push against the outlaw's block, and slowly you feel it beginning to fail. When she finally has to give in to the strain, you slam her into the wall and finally strike her throat or through the chest. Before she makes a sound, you cover her mouth with a gloved hand, lowering her body to the floor as gracefully as you can. And once more, you move along the street until you reach another makeshift path, looking down onto the square. This time, you see Estrid and Raskir looking across at you from the shadows of the next house over. Estrid is furious. What took you so long? You told me to be quiet, or sorry, or we're outnumbered. You told me to be quiet. You told me to be careful and quiet. That comes at a cost. I told you this was a bad idea, Estrid. Look. In the square, the speaker is now stood, indicating a prisoner with a knife to his throat. They will know what real power looks like. They will tremble before us. He nods to the outlaw, who grabs the prisoner by the scuff of the neck and raises the dagger up high. I could wait for Estrid, or I could do a forceful blow. I don't know. Is it still time for action? Should I just forceful blow to stop this madness? But we are outnumbered probably, right? I think I should wait for Estrid. I mean, I don't know this guy. Like, you know, I mean, they can kill one of them. I think there's enough going around that we can spare a few lives. Any thoughts? Any thoughts in the chat? I just realized. Let's do this. That's better. So you can see the health for sure, right? There we go. Yeah, that was kind of covering a bit. All right. I think we wait. Let's wait. Instinctually, you look to your commander. But in the moment you look away, you hear a horrible slice and a cheer. No, says Estrid. Estrid races forward, too late to stop whatever dark ceremony the peaceless are a part of. Raskier follows her with a furious cry. You follow last, rushing into the square after them. There's a small army now forming ahead of you, and the battle has only just begun. You're very quickly surrounded. Even with all of your training and experience, there's no way you can take them all on alone. You fight your way through to Estrid and Raskier, dealing only with the problems that lie between you. A block here, a parry there. The first outlaw to truly block your path is quickly felled with a savage swipe at his legs, sending him barreling to the floor. Straight away, you find yourself face to face with another, wielding an axe in each hand. Forceful blow. Before he has a chance to swing either weapon, you charge forward and strike downwards with your sword. The warrior is forced to block your strike, only for your sword to slice straight through an axe handle, cutting him across the face. You have enough time to watch him sink into the floor before the next warrior is upon you. She uses a shield to strike you hard in the chest, winding you as you hit the floor hard. You just lost some more health. With that, she raises the shield high above her head and prepares to strike the killing blow. We can block the strike, roll away, or counter. I don't know. Is he agile? Jess in the chat is asking what game is currently set up on everyone's table. I would like to hear so. Nothing on the streaming table, but upstairs I have Lord of the Rings: The Living Card game set up. Just playing around with some of the starter deck stuff for a stream next week. Hopefully, maybe more than one. We'll see. Finally got that to the table again. Gloomhaven on yours, Jess. Nice. I think I'm going to try to roll away and see what happens. You throw yourself out of the way of the strike before it falls, flinching as you hear the crack of steel on stone. As the warrior goes to strike again, you kick out at her legs, forcing her to the floor as well. As she groans, you pull yourself up and pounce towards her, plunging your sword fatally into her chest. That's when you catch your breath. A number of the peaceless already lie dead, but many more are swarming over Estrid and Raskier. And then they're on top of you as well, and you're forced to block and counter another swinging axe. Between strikes, it's difficult to gauge how much longer you'll need if you can last at all. As you cast your eyes over the battlefield, you catch sight of yet another warrior coming towards you. Big and burly, is this fighter. Here's another to wield a vicious weapon in both hands. With a snarl and angry cry, he starts to sprint towards you, already preparing to strike with a terrible blow. Let's parry. As he brings the axe forward with a howl, you catch the blade on the edge of yours and swipe it downwards. When your sword falls, he has already raced behind you, and you quickly have to turn to face him once again. He skids to a halt and readjusts his grip on the axe, snarling at you angrily. As your eyes meet, you spin your sword back around to be ready once again. Slow strike or fury of blows? I don't know. Fury of blows sounds... Or flurry. Sorry, flurry of blows sounds better. You launch into a flurry of quick and precise blows that aim to throw the warrior off guard. That works, and he is forced to catch the strikes awkwardly with his axe, allowing you to press him back unrelentingly. The sheer speed of your assault seems to surprise him and keeps him from striking back. As he tries to force you away with a punch of the axe handle, you duck underneath him and strike upwards. Your slice catches him in his stronger arm, and he cries out in pain. Pain quickly turns to anger, and he lashes out, trying to find a way back into the fight. Back and forth you go, trying to find an opening against this relentless foe. But slowly and surely, you see your opponent beginning to tire, and you know that you have the edge. He must sense this too, as he turns to other means to regain his advantage when you drive him back once again. He grabs at an outlaw who is busy fighting Raskier and hurls her towards you to catch you off guard. She stumbles towards you quickly, and you have to dart out of her way so that she doesn't crash into you. Your opponent has bought himself some time, but you still hold a significant advantage. With a desperate swing of an axe that you can easily block, he finally gives you an opening to make the final blow. I don't want to waste my stuff, but let's just do a little quick strike. With his axe locked behind you by your sword, you use one arm to elbow him sharply in the ribs. As he doubles over, you use the pommel of your sword to hit him in the head, sending him falling to the floor. There, you twist your sword around to drive it decisively through his back. With one last groan, he falls silent, and you are able to catch your breath. You're not entirely sure how you're still alive, but you know that you are. You have a brief moment to look around, as the nearest outlaws look at you cautiously before re-engaging. Nearby, the Hetman's children are still fighting away. Raskier howls and cries as he swings his axe across the outlaw's chest, and they collapse in front of him. Without hesitation, he leaps forward to the next, and the next after that, cutting through them like they are nothing. Not much further away, you see Estrid trap a warrior's sword arm between her sword and shield. In a flash, she uses both to twist the man's arm around awkwardly, forcing the sword from it. This is neat and fluid disarm that you'll have to ask her about when you have fewer pressing matters at hand. Hey, how did you do that move? The three of you are being boxed in together not far from where the speaker originally preached. Their numbers advantage is beginning to dwindle now, with many of the peaceless lying either dead or too injured to fight. But they still hold a number of advantages, and you'll have to work together to stop yourselves from being surrounded. We could fight methodically, cause a distraction, or leap into the fray. Cause a distraction. Riding the adrenaline, you call out towards the group that stands between you and the siblings. Those at the rear turn to face you immediately, preparing themselves for re-engagement. I'm going to conserve my energy. Even if you can make it to Estrid and Raskier, you know the fight won't just end, so you conserve what energy you have. You fight smartly, blocking and parrying their blows until their defenses falter. You make quick work of them both, making room for you to get through the siblings unscathed. Estrid and Raskier fight on as you finally reunite with them, both tired and hurt and covered in blood. Have you seen the other prisoner, Outlander? Estrid shouts at you while she fends off one of the remaining peaceless with her shield. No. There's nothing we can do now, Estrid, except keep fighting! One of the warriors tries to wrestle Raskir's axe from his grip, but with a growl, he headbutts them away again. We're almost through. You're about to scold him for daring to say something so stupid when out of nowhere you feel your heart sink. It only lasts the briefest of moments, but it is so intense and so crushing that you are left stunned by its arrival. All three of you freeze and find yourselves breathing hard as the fighting comes to a sudden stop. Uh-oh, I smell magic. And as you swallow uncomfortably, your eyes are drawn to the speaker who stands on the other side of the square. He holds up a trinket that fits in his outstretched hand, which he has thrust towards you like a weapon. On it, you see lines etched into the metal like some archaic and mysterious symbol. It is the one and same as the symbol painted on every shield you can see, and some freshly inked tattoos as well. As your eyes lock in, you are filled with a strange and nervous tension that fills you with discomfort. Your first instinct is to turn, to keep it out of view, to do anything that will shake that discomfort from you. The speaker must see it in your face, in all of your faces. He chuckles and starts to step behind the crowd of peaceless that now regroup between you. You shall not know peace. Kill them! With a cry, the peaceless come at you again, and you have to move quickly to stop them killing you on the spot. If we can stop the sorcerer, then we can put an end to this. Very well. With me, then. Raskier gives a furious cry and swings his axe with both hands, almost full circle around himself. The remaining peaceless dive backwards out of Raskier's way, staying between you and your new target. But if there is magic at work here, then you know you must strike before it clouds your mind once more. You have to get past these warriors somehow before the sorcerer can distract you again. You could fight through, go around, or use battle sense. I feel like battle sense is the play, and then we need to do what it says. Let's see what you guys are saying for games here. Patrick says, unfinished business is for the Star Wars Outer Rim game. Oh, you just received the expansion. Have it set up to play tonight. Nice. Yeah, I saw a... It was supposed to come out June 10th, is what originally, even in Canada, was the date for that. But we didn't get it. It still hasn't shown up at stores around here. So I checked the distributor's website, and it says it's now like a July 1st date in Canada. So it's still going to be a few weeks before we get to try Outer Rim on the channel. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks, Asmodee. Thanks. I'm not salty at all. Yeah, Outer Rim does have a solo mode, but yeah, there's like a little AI deck and some rules to learn to control it, but... Oh, the expansion adds a second automated player. I did not know that. That's cool. That's cool. I gotta give that a try then. That sounds like a stream to me. That sounds like a stream. All right. I'm going to use Battle Sense. You leave the fighting itself to instinct and instead push all of your focus into your senses. I'm only down to 7 left of my endurance out of 18. Hopefully we get to heal here. Dealing with the peaceless becomes much easier with all the advantages you find from where no one else looks. One who stands on a loose stone is thrown off balance when you aim a powerful kick at the step. You and Estrid work together to push another couple through the weak spot you notice in the nearby wall. As his defensive line fails, the sorcerer's face falls and becomes a mix of worry and anger. But now you're face to face and able to put an end to this mastermind's schemes. I don't know. I'm curious, like, what happens when we spend all of our endurance? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming at some point we get to refresh it, but I don't know. Yeah, in the US, the Outer Rim expansion came out on June 10th, James. But in other countries, it might be different. But it originally was supposed to be like a June 10th date, North America, I think. But the dates changed to July 1st in Canada. But I don't know about Europe and Australia and all those other places. Many other places in the world that might be getting the game. Or the expansion, I should say. All right, we're going to do Forceful Blow. Now that you unleash all your strength, roaring as you leap forward to strike the sorcerer down. He's unsuspecting of your attack and collapses to the floor with a pained yelp as you slice deep through his arm. The pendant he clutched falls from his grasp, rolling safely away into the snowy, muddy, bloodied turf. Before you can strike him again, he backs away from you with his hand outstretched towards you. No! Peace! You stop short again, as a very distant echo flashes across the very back of your mind. It's gone again in an instant, and you don't even have time to recognize what it is. But you're left with a string of regret or guilt that you cannot put a finger on as Raskier steps up next to you with a growl. That reverberates through you and seems to shake you from the memory. The sorcerer, looking worried, fumbles for a sword at his hilt as he faces the two of you together. Ah, now Forceful Blow is grayed out because I don't have enough endurance, so I see. I just lose access to that stuff. But let's slowly strike this guy, I guess. That's probably not good either. Flurry of Blows. Yeah, Flurry of Blows. You twist your sword into blow after blow, changing your speed and angle to keep the sorcerer guessing. He watches your sword carefully as you press him backwards, breathing heavily as he blocks, and blocks again. Defense. But he doesn't see Raskier approaching him and is knocked off balance when he's struck by the butt of Raskier's axe. He's quick to scurry away, trying to stand so that he doesn't trip over the stairs. But he doesn't have enough time to stop you pressing your attack. Buy time for Estrid. As Raskier continues the assault, you look around to see what has become of Estrid. She's finishing off the last of the peaceless cultists that you can see, cutting him down with her blade. She'll only need a few moments to be able to join you, and then your advantage will be even greater. And so you rejoin Raskier, keeping the sorcerer distracted until his sister can arrive. The sorcerer glances up at all of you, staring down at him and expecting a surrender. And he grins and laughs. It's not the first time you experience such a reaction, and you even find yourself rolling your eyes. He cackles as he stretches a hand out towards you. By the time you think about raising your sword to stop him, it's already too late. He's spoken an incantation of some kind, and it's back to howling with laughter. And once again, you feel that strange, aching pain in your chest, and it pulls your focus away from the task at hand. What are you even doing here? Who are these strangers in this strange land? Did the siblings know that this might happen? Why did they not warn you? Can they be trusted? How were these simple outlaws able to push you so far for so long? What does that say about you? It just all makes sense. You feel so contrite. Some part of your mind recognizes that you must break free of whatever spell the sorcerer has put you under. You shake your head as you try to find something, anything, to cling to return to reality. Shall I trust in yourself, trust in your experience, or trust in your party? I'm going to trust in myself. Believe in yourself. You're here because you're good at what you do. It's that simple. That's right. Preach. You have a reputation, and when Hetman Firanjason heard it, he trusted to you to get the job done. What does it matter that his children did or didn't know? Did or didn't tell you? You can do this, and until you no longer have the sword in your hand, you still have a chance. You shake your head again and quickly look to both Estrid and Raskier. They both seem lost in their own train of thoughts, neither of them really paying attention to their surroundings. But you're free of the spell, and you see the sorcerer snarling up at you in disgust. This isn't over. Kill him or just knock him out. R-rated, PG-13. R-rated, PG-13. R-rated. You don't give him the chance to say another word. Finish him! With a dark grimace, you drive your sword through his chest and end his life with a choking cry. Beside you, the siblings both take long, heavy inwards breaths as they're ripped from the thoughts plaguing them. With that, quiet once again falls on the small abandoned village of Halvek. R-rated, says the Glim Crew. Nice. The strain of it hits you immediately, and you take long, deep breaths as your head spins. The battle is finally over. You're not afraid to admit that you're relieved. You set your sword down for a few moments, looking up at the sky as you take stock of events. It was a much harder fight than you were expecting. You were a little surprised by how well you've come through it, considering how hard it felt. As long as there's no contemplations, it shouldn't take you too long to recover. Oh yes, recover some health. I need some health, please, sir, and some endurance, please. So much for catching them off guard, says Raskier. Leave it be, Raskier. If we'd done what I said, if we'd done what you said, it wouldn't have been worse. I said, leave it be. You're brought back to reality by their bickering, and you look up to see both looking angry and upset. Estrid is the first to see you looking at them, and scowls as she walks past you back down the stairs. You were late, Outlander. We could have saved that prisoner. I could say I'm sorry, or I could say things don't go to plan, or I was trying to be quiet. I'm going to say deal with it, sister. Things don't go exactly according to plan. Raskier and I arrived at the square without a problem. Oh, you son of a... She purses her lips, taking a deep breath before she rubs her face and shakes her head. We should have saved that prisoner. As she paces around, she finds herself standing in front of one of the Peaceless's fallen shields. She uses a foot to kick it over, and then takes a long, hard look at the symbol painted on its front. I don't know this writing at first. I thought it might be the symbol. Might be a symbol, but if it is, then it is not any of our gods. Something fouler is at work here. He never mentioned any names, says the prisoner. All of you turn towards the voice, once again on guard at the first sign of a new threat. You immediately recognize one of the prisoners creeping through the door of a nearby ruined house. In the sight of the siblings' weapons, she immediately puts up her hands, though they're bound together by thick ropes. She indicates the sorcerer's body with a nervous pointing finger. Before you arrived, he never said who or what they follow, and neither did any of the soldiers who captured us. He just kept complaining about the way the peaceless are treated. Never mind that. Estrid hurries over to her to untie the bonds around her hands. Are you all right? My husband, She clams up and falls quiet as Estrid throws the ropes away, looking at her solemnly. He's with the gods now, and they'll welcome him. She gives up a small nod, but no further acknowledgement, rubbing her wrists absent-mindedly as she looks around. Patrick's now on Team Rasker. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Hey, Jeremy. Jeremy says, what the hell is this, sir? This is, sorry for those that joined. Basically, this is a visual novel type PC game. You have some choice, branching path, 2 characters to play as, alternate endings. You have a couple abilities, some endurance and health meter to kind of, but it's like a very light game. It's basically a visual novel, graphic novel kind of idea. It is based in the world of the Dark Eye RPG and the Aventuria board games. It's by Ulysses Spiel is the publisher. So if you've ever heard of Aventuria the board game or the Dark Eye RPG, it's in that same world using the same characters and story. It's just by their like digital group or whatever. But yeah, that's what we're playing today. One of those kind of like chill visual novel kind of games. Just having some fun, choosing some options, being snarky, you know, the usual. Yeah. Yeah, Jess says Rob is chillaxing today with his break from Folklore and Burn Cycle. Yes, this is definitely a chill game. And then tomorrow we'll flip it on the other side. We'll play some Nemesis Distress and get super serious with it. I think that's like an FPS. I haven't played it yet, but we'll check it out tomorrow from Awaken Realms Digital. So that should be fun. Very, very polar opposites of games, I'm sure. Aventuria, the board game, how I feel about it? It's fine. They're okay. They're cool. I don't know. They're nothing like amazing, I don't feel, but they're okay. They're like definitely on that level of like the folklore kind of style where it's like it's comes from more of the RPG side of the board gaming hobby, which I have zero experience with. So as from a competitive card game and a competitive board gamer, a lifestyle kind of gamer type of game, a heavier gamer, the Aventuria games are definitely more chill. And they remind me of Folklore, the Affliction kind of style, where it's like you can tell they came from the RPG side of things. The more loosey-goosey rule set, the more story-driven, less focus on refined and tight mechanical gameplay. That's where I kind of, thinking back to them, that's my impression. But I know we had so much fun playing through that, the Nadim, the one we talked about at the start of the stream. There was a standalone game, I believe, Nadim the Caliph's Daughter for Aventuria. That was a blast to play on stream. It was super cool. I had like this mini game running through a palace and stuff. Yeah, that was fun. It's fun to see where they've taken Aventuria, but yeah, they're okay. They're okay. You literally bought Aventuria for the second time this past weekend. Which, like the base game Aventuria, Jeremy, are you talking about? Because I know they have like a ton of standalone games now, and some I think are better than others. Because there's like tons of expansions and stuff too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I have like a whole shelf full of them. I still have some that I should play probably. But yeah, the Nadim the Caliph's Daughter one was really cool. I like that one a lot. Yeah. Okay, Dan. All right. Let's carry on with our adventure. So for those that have joined previously on Forgotten Fables, Wolves on the Westwind. We as consensus amongst the chat. We chose to play as, there's two characters in this game. We chose to play as Raskier, the former army warrior guy, who was escorting a merc. It's like the stream. Am I losing connection here? Yeah, it just said the stream went out for a second. Are we okay? Yeah, it looked like it was only for a couple seconds. Are we back? Are we good? Yeah, it looked like there was a hiccup for a couple seconds. Okay, we're good, we're good. I don't know if it was on my end or YouTube's end or what, but yeah, it definitely was dropped for a bit. Okay, we're back? Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, so what I was explaining was previously on, we picked this character, who I forget the name already. Ulrich? Is it Ulrich? Yeah, we're playing as Ulrich, I think. And the kids of the Viking village leader, we're playing with Raskier and Estrid. Is it Estrid? Man, I keep forgetting the names. But these two, we went on an adventure to find out who these bandits were that ambushed us on the way to this Viking village. The other character was Nadim from the board game that we played. And she has a different kind of magic abilities, different health stats and stuff. But we did not choose her. It was up to the chat to decide. So we're playing as Ulrich, I believe is his name. And we're going on his adventure. But that's where we're at. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So we can ask the prisoner here, where are you from? We can ask the prisoner, is there anything else? Or we can ask, when were you captured? I don't know. Where are you from? Yeah, our name is Ulrich. There it is. Ulrich. Where are you from? The prisoner says, Varnheim. We were traveling south to trade when they attacked us on the road. It wasn't even at night. They just came at us in the middle of the day, out in the open. We tried to defend ourselves, but there were too many. The next thing I remember, it was dark, and we were in that forest there. When was this, says Raskier. 2 days past, I think. I understand. That's enough for now. You return to I-Town with us. From there, we'll make sure you return home safely. Slowly, she nods her understanding. Estrid shepherds her towards the village gateway and tells her to warn you if there is any sign of trouble. When she returns, she glances again at the shield she kicked over and then takes another long glance about the place. We can't just leave it like this. Let's burn it to the ground. Will they come back? What of the injured? Or it needs to be destroyed. That's exactly what I was thinking. Let's burn this. Let's burn this mother. Let's do it. And if you don't like the options I pick, you can play the game on your own. You can pick your own options, okay? All right? All right? Or speak up and explain what options I should pick. I need to slow down, though, because I know there's a slight delay on the stream. But I definitely want to burn it to the ground. Because that's what I thought of right away, and then it popped up on screen. That was great. All of this needs to be destroyed. The body's burned, the shields, the pendant. Wherever that's gone. Uh-oh. I agree. Whatever happened here, it is clearly evil. It can't be allowed to remain. Estrid seems perplexed for a moment, but then she nods. Fine. But I would like to make note of this symbol before they are all destroyed. Perhaps Brand might recognize it. Yeah. Brand is behind it. The evil apprentice guy, or whatever, the assistant. And what of the peaceless here who are injured, not dead? What should we do with them? Esther takes a long look around those peaceless who lie unconscious or groaning as they nurse serious wounds. Raskier stalks one that is trying to crawl away down the stairs, but then puts his boot on the man's back to stop him. Where you going, bro? Their lives were forfeit even before they align themselves to whatever darkness this is. We must execute them. We could say they could be useful, or very well, or do what you must. Who's the pyro? I think we know now. This is Patrick. Well, I'm just getting rid of evidence, okay? We don't need anyone to find out what happened here. Lots of murder happened. Let's hide all the evidence. Burn it. Burn it all. Hey, Brian. Kill. Yeah. Very well. Let's do it. You take up your sword once more, wipe it against your trouser leg. Let's get it over with. No, wait a minute. Perhaps we should keep one alive. Raskier rounds on his sister angrily, but she pushes him away and signals for him to calm down. All of this is strange. The peaceless gathering on the mainland like this, the symbol, the sorcerer, the ceremony. It's all wrong, but we must try to understand it in case we need to know for the future. What do we possibly need to know that we don't already? They were exiled and have returned, and they have accepted the path of this sorcerer who speaks against the gods. Father would banish us both if we dragged them through this hall when he had the chance to end them here. When we had the chance to end them here. And what if this is leading to something else? Would you simply have us fight it blindly? A prisoner can tell us if there are other places like this, other people doing things like this. Estrid just won't give up. I'm going to keep pushing. I want to see where this goes. I want to see how much trouble we can get in here. Let's keep siding with Raskier. Raskier is right, Estrid. It sounds as though it would be a misstep to do this. If your father would be so upset, it would be a waste of time. He will only order them killed. We might as well do it here. Raskier looks far from happy as he looks at you, but his expression does soften, and he nods at you in appreciation. Thanks, brother. Thanks for helping me out. Estrid rolls her eyes, sighs, and shakes her head as she holds up her hands in defeat. Fine. We'll do without. She brushes her hands and looks around, thinking about where to start. Let's get this done. We will already be arriving back at I-Town after nightfall. Your work brings you easily into the late afternoon. Raskier takes no issue in ending the suffering of those peaceless who survived the battle. Those who try to flee are met with an even angrier end. The victim of the peaceless ceremony is buried outside the village where his wife tearfully says goodbye. Well, that's my bad. And then you are faced with a pile of corpses that Estrid bitterly sets aflame. It's been some time since you last smelt that very singular smell, and your lip curls as you inhale the smoke. When the fire is blazing, anything bearing the same strange lines as the sorcerer bore is tossed into the flames as well. It makes the smoke even more acrid, and the three of you take no pleasure in staying much longer. You find some remnants of the supplies that you were supposed to bring to I-Town, but they're dwindling, and very little remains to be salvaged. Finally, you find the pendant that the sorcerer thrust at you during the fight. Once again, as you gaze at it, you feel a great discomfort that is difficult to shake, and yet somehow you cannot simply look away. The precious. The lines and shape have a strange magnetism about them. It's only interrupted when you sense Estrid and Raskier walking over to you from the bonfire. Seems mystical. It almost seems mystical now that I have had the proper time to look at it. Over your shoulder, both the siblings observe it for a moment too, but you quickly hear Estrid sigh. I've never seen such a thing, and I do not like it. Are you sure that we should not take this back to I-Town for Bran to examine properly? No, don't trust that guy. Absolutely not. Before you can stop him, Raskier rips the medallion from your hand and tosses it into the raging fire. A flame licks out to swallow up the medallion, and then it is gone out of sight, never to trouble anyone again. Estrid continues to look at the fire as Raskier starts to make his way down the steps towards the gate. She is quiet and contemplative, slowly turning to look at you and speaking under her breath. I truly hope we don't come to regret that prisoner's sacrifice, Outlander. Come on, the Hetman will be expecting us. It must already be early the next morning when you finally trudge into the Hetman's hall. The journey back to I-Town was much slower than the journey to Hulvik. You're tired and hungry. And you're still left with an uneasiness that you spent the hours-long walk trying to shake. All in all, after 2 consecutive nights of exhaustion, you're looking forward to a good night's sleep. The Hetman is sat at the table chatting quietly to one of his warriors when your small band approaches. He lights up when he sees his children returning successfully from their mission. But that quickly changes when he sees you bring with you another that he doesn't know, whose life is in ruin. He listens carefully, somberly, and respectfully as she tells her story. When it comes to why she's alone, she stops short. My bad, my bad. Estrid takes over, telling of the tale, explaining her plan to her father. She gives you a careful look when she comes to the details of how the battle began. Unfortunately, the Outlander wasn't quite quick enough, and by the time we were ready to strike, it was already too late. You bitch. I was following the plan, or Raskier had a different idea, or I can only apologize. I'm going to throw it back on it, Astrid. I was following your plan, jerkface. Had I gone any quicker, even more may have gone wrong. Estrid does her best to keep her composure, but it's clear she's unhappy with your response. Deal with it. Nonetheless, she keeps her eyes locked and dead ahead, not wishing to engage in an argument. It is too late in the day for excuses, I'm afraid. A mistake was made, and an innocent man paid for it with his life. He turns to the woman, who still stands quietly and trying to stay out of the way of any debate. I am sure he dines in Travia's hall now, preparing to fight by Swafnir's side. One day you will see him again. He asks the warrior he was sat with to escort the woman from the hall and to a longhouse until morning. When the doors have closed behind them, he looks over all of you and nods his head. You've done well today. He dismisses his children, who both nod, first to him and then to you, before walking towards the door. He quickly turns to you and puts his hands behind his back and addresses you professionally. Regardless of the end result, I must thank you for your help today, Outlander. You've done us a great service. It is the least I could do. It was hard work, or we should have done better. I'm not going to admit that we could do better. I'm going to stick him on my guards. It's the least we could do. Hetman, now we are even. Bah, I don't care for much keeping scores settled, Outlander. That said, of course you will be paid. I will see to it tomorrow morning. No, I need my money now, man. I wonder whether you'd consider staying one more night. I'm holding a feast tomorrow. A little more than political nonsense, but you're more than welcome to stay. I smell another adventure coming on. He considers you for a long moment, and after his performance at breakfast, it doesn't take long to become a little suspicious. Is it foretold by the runes? Do you want me to stay? Or ... Let's try the ... for now. Still, you find yourself seriously considering the offer. You've been on the road for a long while, and one day would hardly hurt. And besides, you have a strange nagging feeling in the back of your mind. Somehow it feels right. Fine, I will stay one more night. I look forward to it. He raises his hands in celebration, and then claps and rubs them together. Good decision. Then I bid good night, Outlander. And tomorrow, we shall feast. So is this like, I don't know if this is meant to be like the kind of like, all right, this is the stopping point because this is the second overrolled map kind of we've seen of the town. And now it's just one option to continue. I feel like these are like, it's not really like chapter ends because we've seen chapter transitions not at this point. I just assume at some point we'll come to this map and we'll have options. But it doesn't seem like there are options at this point. It's just continue the story basically. A moment of reflection. Before the feast begins, you have some time to yourself to reflect upon the last day and prepare for what comes next. So we could start it. Oh, I see we did heal up some, but not fully. We have 28 out of 30 health, 18 out of 18 endurance. Okay, so there is healing points, basically. It's good to know. Good to know. All right. I'm going to take a quick break at this point for only a couple minutes and just grab a quick snack. I will be right back. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. We're back. All right, let's continue. A moment of reflection. Oh, that's pretty. You rather hoped that a night's sleep would feel better than it does. It does take over an hour for you to even fall asleep, and then your dreams are chaotic and disruptive. The battle plays through in your head over and over again. Each time it plays out differently, and never how you would expect. Silly mistakes, bad decisions, and strategy. Horrible misfortune. None of it makes sense. And all of it is accompanied by this nervous disquiet deep in your chest. A feeling you just can't shake. Something familiar that you rather wish weren't. When morning comes, you are glad you don't have anywhere to be until nightfall. Oh, just like that it's morning. Your injuries still niggle at you, causing you to ache terribly. Yet more proof, if anywhere were needed, that your age is starting to catch up with you. As you're getting ready in the light of day, you notice for the first time how filthy your clothes actually are. Your tunic and trousers were already covered in mud from your flight from the peaceless, and now they're bloody too. You should really take the time you have to clean up a little bit. It might be appreciated if you were a little more presentable for the feast you were personally invited to. Clean your clothes, find breakfast, go for a walk. I don't know. What are my priorities? What are my priorities today? Let's see. Clean my clothes, get ready for this feast later. I'm hungry instead. Find some breakfast or go for a walk. Probably should go for a walk. Yeah, some good morning exercise definitely helps. No, you've worked hard enough over the last couple of days. You need to try to relax. The warriors of Thorwal may even appreciate the evidence of 2 hard days' fights. Instead, you're resolved to go for a walk and explore the town for some more before your evening appointment. When you are changed and ready, you hide your pack away and leave the longhouse to explore. Once again, the air is crisp and smells strongly of salt. You're grateful, really, as it helps perk you up a little after such a difficult night. You go on from the longhouse to the beach, around and back uphill towards the Hetman's Hall. Who wants waffles? Then you explore it southwards, simply wandering through the crowds that go about their day. It is busy, busier than even the previous day on the beach, in the market, and outside the Hetman's Hall. Somebody say breakfast? Yeah. Always a good time for breakfast food. Yeah. But amongst all the controlled chaos, you find a small garden where a few fruit trees are wilting in the late autumn. There's a quiet, and you can rest a while. You sit alone for a while in quiet contemplation of what you might do next. Your thoughts are interrupted, though, when you notice that you're being watched. On a bench not far away from your own, a mother sits with her child, and the child watches you innocently. They're staring at one of the longer scars on your arm, their eyes full of wonder and adventure. I could smile at the child, or ignore the child. I'll smile. You smile at the child and nod your head in a muted greeting. The child enthusiastically grins and waves at you. When their mother notices, she smiles and then steers the child away from you with some rushed Thorwalian. The look on the child's face sticks with you for a while as you go about your day. It reminds you of the life you once tried to make for yourself away from the battlefield. A life of peace and genuine joy. With someone who thought the world of you. Such a long time ago now. In the afternoon, you decide to do some training to combat the aches and pains with physical exercise. You lap the town once and then twice before you start to break a sweat. In the square outside Hetman's Hall, there's a solitary tree that you can use to practice your sword work. I just practiced it on a whole bunch of dudes. We're good. There, you practice all the techniques you know, one after another, with all the same discipline you learned so many years ago. It draws the attention of some passerby, which you ignore with relative ease. It's only then you see Astrid approaching you from Hetman's Hall that you stop your practice. When did you join our army, your army, Outlander? Sorry. When did you join your army, Outlander? I don't need to give her so much details. I'm not really trusting her, so I'm going to do a little long time ago, right? Let's not get too specific. A long time ago, before you were even born, I would imagine. And you've fought ever since? More or less. She seems to realize you won't say anything more than that and nods in gentle understanding. Yeah, I ain't giving you nothing. Can I help you? Would you like to spar, or did the Hetman want me? I don't want to spar with her. Can I help you? What do you want? Yes, actually. She pulls a small bag from a hook on the back of her belt and throws it at you. Hey, Cynthia. How's it going? You drop your sword into the other hand in order to catch it cleanly, recognizing the familiar weight of coin. Thank you for your service. Her words are polite enough, but her voice is cold and trying to hide irritation. I would join you if you don't mind. It has been a while since I have fought someone outside of Thorwal. Of course. It'd be good practice for us both. See, I don't like this how, like, it just, like, leads this way. It's like, are any of the options really different? I'm getting, like, a probably not. She returns a few moments later with her own sword, warming up her wrists by twisting it around in front of her. Oh, it's battle music time. It's a hard fight. You aren't sure whether it's because you have angered her or whether she simply needs to vent. But it's certain that she isn't holding back, pressing you onto the defensive with relative ease. Okay, like, am I really doing a forceful blow? No, I'll do some battle sense. Let's see. Before you can be completely caught off guard, you start paying attention to her footwork. It acts as a tell, hinting at where she will strike from next and allowing you to parry and strike back cleanly. A few times this happens, frustrating her more and more into speeding up her attacks. No matter how quickly she moves, once you're in a rhythm, she simply cannot get past your blocks. Eventually, she throws down her sword and breathes in deeply, shaking her head in defeat. You must now show me how to do that. Oh, come on, you're like, get off me. You're wasting all my time here. I got breakfast to go get now. There is no teaching that. It's just experience. When you know the techniques off by heart, you can focus on other things. I'll keep that in mind. It's always good to learn something from an opponent. What might I learn from you? Your disarm is a bit stilted. I've seen that before in Southern fighters. You scowl at her and she smirks, retrieving your sword. It's slow. While you try to make a grab for the weapon, your opponent can use their elbows or knees to disrupt you. My way, you can attack again straight away, and they'll never know what hit them. Hey, Sajat, how's it going? We're doing good today. How are you? We're just quarreling here with this, you know, the rich guy's daughter, basically. Interesting. Show me. You haven't had the opportunity to learn something new as a student for quite some time. It's almost refreshing in and of itself, but you can tell straight away the maneuver is also a useful one. First, Estridge shows you the problem with a method of disarming you already know. As you stop short to tear her sword from her hand, she gently elbows you in the face and stomach. See? You've exposed an entire right side of your body. I can hit you anywhere. It's also a distraction. The disarm is also a distraction, though, usually. They don't think to attack while I am trying to take their weapon away. And what happens when they're not distracted, if they have another weapon or they stun you with a fist? It's not just about removing their weapon, but also taking them off guard. She then walks you through her own method side by side and step by step. It's not dissimilar, and you are sure you probably performed the maneuver by accident at least once. The simple defense is that instead of catching the weapon itself, you catch the weapon arm. Then they have very little choice but to let you go. A human arm is not supposed to bend that way. And you keep going. Keep stepping forward so that they stay off balance. Exactly. That's the real distraction. They can't hit you with a broken arm, and while they're flailing. Try it against me now. She once again stands opposite you, preparing herself to attack. You parry her attack twice in order to get into a rhythm, and then move in for your first attempt. Whoa, we just learned a new ability. This is getting deeper than I expected. We only had 2 abilities to start. Now we have a disarm ability, allows Ulrich to quickly and effectively remove a weapon or other object from the grip of an opponent, giving him a significant advantage in combat situations. But it costs 5 endurance. And she sends a powerful downward strike towards you. You twist your own sword out of the way. With a careful sidestep, you catch her arm at the wrist in one hand and the elbow in the other. Without stopping, ooh, look at that. You start to twist until Estrid gives an uncomfortable growl and the sword falls from her hand. When she's defenseless, you feign punches at her gut and head and then step past her and release her arm. Well done! You pick that up quickly. Now, I could be nice and say I have a good teacher, but that's not the relationship I got going on here with her. Learning is easier later. This is like, I'm old, I just understand it. Or this is going to be useful. Yeah. This is going to be useful. I wish I'd learned it earlier. My father says it's never too late. Estrid? The two of you turn to see Raskir making his way towards you from the Hetman's Hall. Oh, your usual grumpy workday self. Okay. What on earth is this game? Okay, Cynthia. I will... You know what I'll do? There is a link in the video description. But the quick and dirty, for those, again, that have joined, I'll do another recap. This is a game published by the same publisher as Aventuria and the Dark Eye RPG. It's in the same world as Aventuria. There are some of the same characters that we saw in those board games. Board games / card games, I would kind of call them more. But it's in that same world by Ulysses Spiel, the publisher of it. It is a graphic novel or a visual novel, it's described as. You kind of play through. It's got some light gaming elements to it. But you play through a story. You can pick one of 2 different characters to start. There are alternate endings, multiple paths, I guess, to the game. What else was described? But if you click the link in the video description, it will take you to the Steam page where you can see the price, the publisher, reviews of the game, description of the game, trailers, screenshots, all that stuff if you're interested in more info on it. But that's just how I would describe it. It's just one of those kind of chill, kind of, you're playing through kind of a story, like a visual comic book kind of style of game. But it's in that cool fantasy world that the same as Aventuria is in, which I liked. I thought it was cool, some of the story with that and stuff. But if you like that Dark Eye RPG, basically the German D&D is what it was described to me as. It's all that same kind of world and characters and stuff by the same people. And it's available on Steam, came out a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's on any other platforms, though. That I'm not sure. But it definitely seems like a game that should be like on tablets and phones and stuff. Like this should be on iOS and Android. Because definitely like the chill back on a couch, you know, kind of lay back with a laptop or a tablet and just kind of click through it kind of game, I think. LOL, when I left, Rob was explaining what was going on, and I'm back and Rob is explaining what was going on. But that was like an hour ago. I basically every hour give like kind of an update to those who joined in. It's like not a very known game. Like it only has like 18 reviews on Steam. Like this is not a very popular game, as is Aventuria either. Doesn't feel like a very popular game either. Like when we played those games on the channel, and nobody really knew what they were. And I understand the same with this. So when the publisher reached out, full disclosure, and was like, hey, you want a code to play this thing early? I was like, yeah, sure. But I waited till it was kind of like released and I had some time to play it. So this is fully out now. This is not early access or beta or anything. But yeah. yeah. Brian says, Rob is practicing a new career in narrating audiobooks. I've heard that joke already today, Brian. That joke's like, that's like the 4th time I've heard that joke. All right. You find a new one. No, I'm just joking. Just kidding. See you around, Sajat. Previously on Forgotten Fables, Wolves on the Westwind. He gives you a curt nod and a wave as he approaches, which you return respectfully. So this feels like, too, like, this reminds me of the Aventuria game, too, where it's, like, kind of trying to be, like, a spin-off of an RPG with, like, board game elements. It's, like, in that game, it's, like, read a bunch of story and then do, like, a skill check. You know, find out what happens. It's kind of like that. You're just kind of like reading through story, enjoying the story, and then it'll just stop every now and then and be like, all right, what do you want to do? Sneak? attack or hide, or which sibling do you want to like side with, or you know, do you want to spend some endurance to do an ability, or do a different kind of ability, you know, that's free, or you know, how you want to interact with the story. That's it. It's kind of like that. We're just mainly like enjoying some story and some nice visuals. I mean, the art's really cool actually. And there is like a deluxe edition that has like DLC, another story, I think, an art book, and something else was in there. But you can check all that on in the video description. There's a link to the Steam page. Again, that's where you'll find all the info. That's basically where I found all my info about the game. Was just by reading on the Steam page. She looks up to find the sun and gauge the time, then quickly backs towards you. I suppose I shall see you at the feast this evening, Outlander. Until then. Thank you. She bows her head one last time and follows her brother away, leaving you to think about what she's taught you. It's never too late to learn. That was something your army instructors were fond of saying. Perhaps Brand was right after all. Perhaps there was a reason for you to stay in I-Town. Okay. Who's this guy? Gods and monsters. When the time comes, you go to Hetman's Hall to feast among the Thorwalers of I-Town. But it is not too long before you are met by some unexpected guests. When the sun hangs low in the western sky, you make your way back to the Hetman's Hall. The square outside is busier than you've seen it before. Merchants, warriors, and other travelers meet and greet each other before pouring into the hall. It's an excited atmosphere, and you find yourself grinning quite generally as you're greeted by people you've never met before. And the hall itself is yet more vibrant and colorful too. The central hearth roars, scattering light across the banners, trophies, and vines that adorn the walls and rafters. Oh, other thing, this, for those that join, I've never played this game before this stream. So literally, like, right from the beginning of the stream was pretty much the first time I, like, booted it up. I booted it up once before that to try to mess with volumes and the settings and stuff. But yeah, I'm, like, playing this game and experiencing it, like, right on stream. So, again, I don't know about replayability. I don't know about length, difficulty, anything like that. We've just been playing for a couple hours. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just playing this together. So it's also spoilers, of course, if you do end up wanting to get this game. Somebody was talking earlier, Steam summer sales coming soon. So, like, add it to your wish list if you're interested. Maybe you'll get a nice drop in price. But it is fairly new. It's only a couple weeks new. So I think it's like 22 Canadian. So, you know, like, what, like 17 US, 15 US or something. It's like not a very expensive game. But again, it might not be very long. Might not be interesting to you if you don't like the type of story, walking sim, kind of just, you know, chillin' kind of visual novel kind of games. Yeah. Yeah. Did it drop again? Did the stream just kick out? It didn't on my end this time. Yeah, it still says the last time it did it was like 40 minutes ago. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's working. Gloom Crew, where are you? Roughly. I'm just curious. Like, did the stream only drop for, like, a certain region? I'm curious. And Patrick, where are you, Patrick? Stream hiccups. Yeah, it wasn't on my end this time, so I don't know. Maybe it's on your guys' end. Like, wherever you guys are. People talk merrily and laugh over stories, moving up and down between the tables as they please. There's already plenty of meat and wine, ale being passed about, brewed in both Thorwal and abroad. At the side of the room, a skald tells a rousing tale of an adventure, and a nearby small band plays too. And not far away from the entrance, you spot Raskier in deep conversation, laughing and grinning. Patrick's in U.S., South Carolina. It stuttered for a couple seconds. I did a refresh, and you were back. Weird. Oh, like a while ago. Oh, okay. Yeah, the first time it happened, like 40 minutes ago, I got, like, error in my YouTube back end here. It said no data. And on my streaming software, it let me know there was a hiccup for a couple seconds. But this time I see nothing on my end, so. Okay, Indianapolis. Oh, nice, okay. It does, but we've been having problems for a while. No, it could just be YouTube. It's fine. It happens. I don't know. It happens. Good old internet. I'm also throwing a juicy 1440p signal out there, so maybe that's causing problems. It's not the usual 1080p stream. The default stream settings usually people use to YouTube. I try to up the quality a little bit there, so if you are watching on like a 4K or a 2K monitor, screen, whatever, make sure you crank up your quality settings to 1440. Or if you're having issues, drop it down to 1080 or even 720 if you're having some issues with like internet connection and stuff. That might make it smoother too. It's the Google AI. It's sentient and it's unhappy. Oh, if it was unhappy, it actually shuts the stream off completely. We've dealt with that before. When he sees you, he immediately grins and beckons you to join him, wishing his friend farewell. Outlander, would you care for a drink? Sure, please. He finds an empty goblet on the table and pours it with what you think is mead. He presses it into your hands with a wide grin, toasting with you cheerily. Come, my father will want to know you've arrived. He takes you through the center of the hall, warming you with a blazing fire. Some fish and a few herd animals are being spit roasted over it. And you breathe deep the smell of cooking meat. At the head of the room, Ulfgar is actually sat on the table, deep in conversation with Jostled. Bran sits quietly in the corner of the table too, watching the people mill around the room. When Ulfgar sees you, he jumps up and spreads his arms wide, smiling merrily. Outlander, welcome. He wobbles as he steps down onto the floor and then vigorously taps his own goblet against yours. He takes a large gulp and indicates the festivities to you. What do you think? I'm impressed, Hetman. You know how to throw a feast. That I do. With that, he quickly turns back to Jostled. I'll catch up with you later, Jostled. Raskir, where's Estrid? She's talking to the warriors from Vermhag for you, father. Oh, right. He looks hurriedly across the room until he finds the group he's searching for, then charges off to greet them. Estrid sits in conversation with them, wearing a headband very similar in design to her father's. When he arrives, she makes a show of introducing the two parties to each other, very diplomatically. An odd time for politics. Why the headband? Your father's drunk. Your father's already drunk, and the meal hasn't even begun. Greeting every guest with a toast will do that, especially on an empty stomach. But that is just the way of things here, Outlander. It'll be quite a spectacle later on. Why is Estrid wearing the headband? She is considered to be our father's heir, expected to be elected as head woman after he dies. She thinks it helps our allies get used to the idea that one day she'll be in charge. What are her chances? Won't you run? And het people are elected? What are her chances? He shrugs and takes a sip of his drink as some of the joy leaves his eyes. She's popular enough, even if some of her ideas can be a little odd sometimes. With the hetman now in deep conversation with the warriors, Estrid excuses herself from the discussion. She makes her way over to the head table, picking a goblet off the table to down its contents in one swig. Only then does she join the two of you, nodding politely as she refills her goblet. I hope you're having a pleasant evening, Outlander. I'm certainly hungry. The smell of food is certainly making me hungry. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll start eating shortly. People come and go past the head table over the next half hour or so. Most are from Eyetown, some are from wider Thorwal, and some even come from Nostria or the Midden Realm. Ulfgar even introduces you to Ptolemidian, a mage with some business further north in Olport. When they learn your profession, many of the Thorwallers ask you to tell them tales of your adventures over the years. Some are disappointed to learn that your life has not been as exciting as they might perhaps expect. You are all just sitting down to finally eat when the doors of the hall swing open once again. They open with so much force that everyone takes notes and the festivities come to a lingering halt. Stood in the doorway are two men, both ragged and weathered, and are aware that everyone is looking at them. Who are these dudes? The first of them acknowledges the stares, looks up and down at the tables, nodding when he makes eye contact. The second only has eyes for Ulfgar, ignoring everyone else who watches them across the room. Your eyes flicker quickly to the tremendous twin-headed great axe he carries easily in one hand. And then they are both in front of you, standing just in front of the step up to the table. You find yourself swallowing nervously as they look up at everyone seated at the table. Then the headman stands to greet them, putting a fist to his chest in a salute. Welcome. It has been a long time, Orville Eriksson. As the headman speaks his name, whispers break out across the hall. Next to you, Estrid sputters on her drink. You glance across as she stands, and Raskir leans forward in his seat as well, as if to get a better view of the visitors. Indeed, it has Ulfgar Fjörunjusson. I'm saying that so wrong, I know. Love it. You're drawn back into the conversation by the gravely drawn of the taller man's voice. He and the hetman stare at each other, for a good few long moments before the second of the pair clears his throat. Thank you for receiving us, hetman. I am Gunnar Runolfsson. I raid with Ordvir. People across the room start muttering to each other, drawing Gunnar's attention. Orvir, though, just stares forward darkly, keeping his eyes locked firmly on Ulfgar. The hetman stems the muttering with a raised hand, taking a sip of his drink before he continues. I'm glad you've come. I was not sure you would. It has been many winters since I've heard tell of you, Orvir. I wasn't sure my message would even reach you. Ulfgar's words seem carefully chosen, and when you glance at Orvir, he seems just as careful to respond. Before he does, Gunnar clears his throat again, rubbing his hands together nervously. Much has changed in those many winters, hetman. Perhaps it's now not the time to speak of such things. Ulfgar studies them both for a few more moments before slowly nodding his head and raising his arms to the hall. Agreed, we'll speak later, and you're welcome to eat and drink with us meanwhile. Please, sit anywhere you'd like. Everyone has time to eat. The hetman sidesteps around the head of the table and marches to the hearth to help with the preparations himself. The men find seats on one of the closer tables, and slowly and cautiously the room begins to fill with chatter again. You're slightly bewildered by the interruption to the evening's tempo. When you turn to the hetman's children again, they're both still looking at the strangers with curiosity and suspicion. Raskir, who are these men? Do you know them? Know them? No. Know of him, yes. He tilts his head in the direction of Orvir and takes a sip of his drink before turning to Estrid. You didn't know he was coming? Estrid shakes her head, staring at the pair as she taps at the table nervously. Ulfgar calls on a procession of people to help him pass out food and more drinks. Trays and trays of bread, fish, vegetables, and more jugs of alcohol are all circulated. Then Ulfgar makes his way around the room again, making sure all the guests are comfortable. As he tries to pick spirits back up, Raskir leans across his sister to tell you more about the mysterious men. Orvir Eriksson is a famous raider outlander, or he was. There are many stories about his exploits, and a few of them are good. He is considered a brute and a savage, even by Thorwalian standards. Why is he here? Can you tell me a story, or isn't he a hero then? Why is your father receiving him here this evening? I wish I knew. It is custom to invite great warriors to feasts like these. The stories about Orvir and his raiders are true, then they are indeed great. Perhaps that is why. After a moment in which she continues to stare at Orelvir silently, Estrid sighs and shakes her head. You may remember greatness in these tales, Raskir. I remember cruelty. The two strangers keep to themselves while everyone starts tucking into their meals. The mood starts to rise again over dinner. The food is delicious, and the tale acted out by the skald while you eat keeps you all in wondrous suspense. But under the lighthearted joy of the meal, you do get a sense of uneasiness that wasn't there before. Your eyes keep shifting over to the strangers who seem completely unmoved by the peace. Many of the guests all across the hall take a moment every now and then to turn and look at the pair, and it doesn't seem to bother either of them in the slightest. The second of them, Gunnar, looks up from his meal every now and then to look around the hall, talking only to his friend. From what you can tell, Orelvir himself barely speaks and doesn't look anywhere other than at Gunnar or straight ahead. Estrid and Raskir both try to get answers out of their father, but he refuses all questions on the subject. And so, for an hour at least, you eat, drink, and pass the time listening to song, prose, and poetry. And all the while, that uneasiness sits in the depths of your chest, and it makes you more and more restless. As the plates come once again carried away, Ulfgar stands with his goblet held tightly in his hand. Now, some more food will be brought shortly, but first, some toasts. Pour ourselves water or mead. Let's do the mead. I'm going to need it for the rest of this speech. As the guest at the head table, you feel it's right to join in, and so you quickly pour yourself a cup of mead. As Ulfgar begins to talk, your attention is suddenly drawn inwards. It's as if a spike hooks into the uneasiness that has been building in your chest. Oh man, is it poisoned? It isn't painful as such, but it feels as though something is peeling open inside you, making you feel exposed. Here is to all of you, my friends. Thank you for your company. You hear Ulfgar's words, but you cannot respond to them as your head spins violently. Out of nowhere, your ears are filled with a low rumbling growl, unmistakably bestial in nature. It claws at the inside of your mind as it becomes deep and grave, a grave chuckle. And as the guests throughout the hall raise their cups to meet the hetmans, a deafening crack of thunder rolls. Voices across the hall cry out as the very foundations are shaken by the boom. The hetman staggers, looking up at the ceiling in drunken confusion. As you lose your balance, even sat down, your arm slips and your goblet tilts awkwardly. You expect mead to spill across the table and your clothes, but instead of liquid falling from your cup, it is a gray-white fine powder that falls into your lap. In surprise, you stand up and it slips off you onto the floor, puffing up before floating back down. If you didn't know any better, you would say your mead had been turned to ash. Before you can do anything else, the room is shaken by another clap of thunder. This time, the chandeliers are rocked by the blast, and people start to cry out in fear. What is going on? I can say I don't know. We need to leave or we're under attack. I don't know. I don't know. It feels harrowing. You look at Raskir as he finishes your sentence perfectly. The look on his face tells you exactly how he knows what you've experienced. Again, your attention is drawn away suddenly. The lights of the chandeliers have steadied, but you are sure you see a shadow move across the ceiling. But as soon as it catches your eye, everything lies still. And a moment later, there is another crack as the walls of the hall are shaken a third time. Show yourself. I will not, Outlander. I knew it was this jerkface. You snap around to look at Brand, who has stood completely and utterly still in the chaos. Unless you scowl at the old Gotti, confused and angry at his inscrutability? As you feel another low rumble deep inside your chest, you feel dizziness overwhelm you again. And then you freeze at the sound of a familiar voice. Ulrich? Says the stranger. For a moment, you're completely and utterly stunned, though the phantom is gone in less than a blink of an eye. You feel, hear, see nothing. And then the loudest crash of thunder yet bellows across the hall. Again, the chandeliers rock. Again, the shadows dart and dance across the ceiling, flickering in and out of existence. As they alight and fade, for a moment you swear they form the face of some monstrous beast. and the thunder rolls into an echoing, horrifying, guttural roar that leaves you reeling where you stand. We could close our eyes, cover our ears, or scream. I bet you guys would choose scream if I asked. No. Gotta be something. Let's cover our ears. I don't want to scream. Like, this thing is all in my head, I think. You clap your hands over your ears to block out the noise, but that only makes your head throb horribly. Where's all of the above? Yes. Yes. Can we vomit? I don't know. I think I'm going to. There is a flash and a moment of complete and utter darkness. I can't see. A moment of complete and utter silence. And then the room flickers back into existence and you breathe in deep. The hall is how it was, how it always was. It is as though nothing had ever happened. A murmur quickly breaks out across the hall as everyone therein makes sure those next to them are unharmed. What was that? Did anyone else see that? Or I've never seen such a thing. I'm going to say, did anyone else see that? Or was it all just in my mind? It's in your head, man. You are not alone, Outlander, though I suspect some saw more than others. Evil has reawoken here tonight. There are stories, but I was not sure they were true. Bran still looks completely expressionless at the ceiling. It's as though he is waiting for the shadows to move, or for the howling to start again. Was it magic? Do you believe in magic? Sorcery? It was a monster. Bran screeches at you, his voice filled equally with worry and excitement. Once again, his hand snaps toward the ceiling, where he stands like a statue for a moment, and then another. Speak, damn it, Bran. Ulfgar totters as he shouts at his advisor, and then collapses to his chair, his hand shaking. His next question is far quieter and far more reserved. What kind of Hrangar skin do you speak of? Your drink turned to ash, Outlander. After a moment, he looks out across the room and calls out loudly. Did anyone else drink? Did anybody else's drink turn to ash? Slowly, Raskier reaches down to pick his tankard up. With a dark look, he turns it on its head, and ash pours from it, billowing up into the air. Ulfgar gasps and pulls his spear nervously. Anybody else? Silence falls across the hall, and a few guests look around at each other anxiously. In the corner of the room, you see the taller of the two strangers, Orelvir, stand and raise his tankard high. And as he turns it, a deep, rich, red liquid pours and spatters to the ground. As those close to him gasp and flinch backwards, he looks at it with a disgusted expression. Water to blood? Spirits to ash? Oh, if we turned to drink water, we would have saw the blood, I guess. 4 strikes of earth-shaking thunder, even when the sky is clear? These are the signs of a great scourge long put to rest. The fiend of the Restless One. What is that? The Restless One? Or that doesn't sound real. That doesn't sound like a real thing. You're making that up. You're making up stories, my friend. Oh, but it was very real, Outlander. It haunted Thorwal for many years, though it has only been a tale for many more since then. Bran quickly turns to the hetman, brandishing his walking stick. You should bring a close to proceedings, hetman. We must consult the Runjas. Ulfgar sits stunned in his chair, looking into space with a look of utter disbelief in his eyes. When Bran snaps his walking stick again, the leg of his chair, he jumps, shakes his head. He stands up, coughs, and indicates the door to his audience. My apologies to you all. Please go. Go to your beds and sleep well. Try to put to rest what you have witnessed here today. Slowly, his instructions are followed, and the people start making for the doors, still muttering and murmuring amongst themselves. At the front of the room, you see Orelvir shoulder past someone racing for the door. No, not you, Orelvir Eriksson. This curse has already been visited upon you. You must stay here. You too, Outlander. All of you must come with me. You're taken out of one of the hall's side doors across the square to a small hut over the way. Bran and Ulfgar lead, with Estrid and Raskir following behind them. You come next, and Orlvir and Gunnar follow begrudgingly and silently behind. The hut that Bran leads you to is already a crowded mess, even before 7 of you try to cram into it. What do we have in this room? You all get in each other's way as Bran bids you to gather around the shallow bowl of small stones in the center of the room. It's an eerie space, lit only by small candles and the distant moon shining through the gap in the roof. It sets the stage rather well for the tale the gaudy tells. Hundreds of years ago, in the deep north of Thorwal, a dire and blessed one was tested by Travia. But Hrangar bade the restless one to corrupt him, and in doing so, the dire failed the test. Stories tell us that over the course of many years, he brought others to his newfound cause, and together the cult brought the fiend to this world. Here we go. Cthulhu Arkham Horror stuff coming. Man, every time I play a digital game, it's got cultists, and I don't expect it. See you later, Patrick. A demonoid, which has become the terror of the entire North. What is a demonoid? I have never heard of this term before. Demons themselves cannot exist on this plane for long without being bound to a host. Even with such a binding, they would not have had enough time to put their plans into motion. And so they found a different way. They hunted a great saber-toothed cat, a great predator of the north, and captured it alive. They fused a demon servant of the restless one to the saber-tooth, allowing it to stay here forever. It haunted the lands for over a decade. Those it hunted were driven mad by illusions, chased to the grave by things that were never real. Relatives said that even on their deathbeds, people would scream that they were being hunted by a shadow they could not comprehend. And it always began with a feeling of terrible uneasiness, like its victims were being watched. Yeah, I felt that. As the hetman was making his toast, I felt like I was being watched. Me too, says Raskir. Eventually, Brand looks at Orlvir, whose eyes shift from person to person as everyone else follows suit. After a moment, the raider rolls his eyes and grinds his teeth, slamming the head of his axe into the earthen floor. This is ridiculous. It's a ghost story from ages past. I won't waste my time on it. It is not why I'm here. But you did come here. And before you arrived, there was no sign of the fiend in I-Town. It turned your water to blood to mark you for the chase. You and it are bound, it seems. As is Raskir, and as is the Outlander. The fiend has found you all, for what reason I cannot say. And if those stories are to be believed, then it will not stop hunting you until you are driven to destruction. But there must be a way to stop it. Raskir folds his arms as he looks at the pile of stones in the bowl you stand around. The story the fiend is one skalds have been telling for generations. Yes, hundreds of winters have passed without wind or whisper of it. I thought it killed. Killed? No, Hetman. The demon with which the saber-toothed cat was melded was not of this world. And so it cannot be killed with iron or bronze or steel. But part of the tale is that it disappeared, that a brave warrior hunted it down and trapped it. So it goes that she took one of the saber teeth and had it blessed by a dyer of Travia? Hey, Kanji, how's it going? There's a link to the game in the video description. If you want to read more about the game, check it out on Steam or playing on PC. Yeah. It's basically a visual novel in the same world of the Aventuria games, or the Dark Eye RPG by Ulysses Spiel, if I'm saying that right. Should it ever be freed from its prison? So we find that weapon. This is all unbelievable, or you make it sound easy? Let's find the weapon. And we use it. Oralvir chortles, shakes his head, and turns away from the circle. Raskier slowly nods his head in agreement. That you must. In the silence that follows, Bran scrapes the stones from the bowl before you and places them into a bag. For a moment he stands up in deep thought, but then he nods. What shall become of those marked by the fiend of the Restless One this evening? One by one, he takes 3 stones from the bag, keeping them in a closed fist without looking at them. He holds them tightly for a single moment, and then throws them into the bowl with an asserted cry. They skitter across the face of the bowl, bouncing and flying, about to only be caught by its edges and dragged back towards the middle. 2 land face up, while one comes to a halt on its long edge. With a deep breath, Bran looks into the bowl. All others apart from Olvir follow suit, and you are left in awe of the Thorwaller's dedication to 3 simple stones. Bran points to the first, one of those that landed face up. The warrior, or the fight. You will have to face the fiend head on before the end. He hovers his hand towards the second face up rune. The Otajasko? Perhaps you must fight this foe together, or perhaps more will be brought into the fight. Oralvir snorts and shakes his head again, looking around at you all with a spiteful snarl. Meanwhile, Bran presses a bony finger on the third and final rune and tips it so that it is also face up. He tilts his neck up to Oralvir, who is pacing in small steps near the door, tapping his fingers against his arm. Downfall. On its side, as it was, this may yet not occur. Perhaps you will fall. Perhaps you will fail if you do not abide by the Runja's other machinations. Machinations? Perhaps it is the fiend that shall fall. This is still uncertain. And you believe all of this? The runes are a glimpse of the Runja's will, Outlander. They are not to be disbelieved, only interpreted. His expressionless face tells you the rest of what you need to know. He accepts every word of it to be true. Finally, Raskier sighs and nods his head. Very well. We know what we must do. Ulfgar nervously looks at his son, and then to Bran and back again quickly. Raskier, you do not need to. Yes, I do, father. I saw it clearly as day right before my eyes, like it was challenging me. It is my fate to face the fiend. I will not run from that. The hetman's brow furrows in against the drunkenness. He is visibly torn and unable to speak. The Runjas have spoken, and the stories are clear, Ulfgar. Should they fail, then they will likely be driven to destruction, and perhaps the fiend will come for us next. But if they do not even try, I doubt there is any hope at all. The hetman does not react. He is breathing heavily, and his hands are shaking. I must do this, father. Let me do this. Let me prove to the gods that I am worthy. Let this be how I am remembered. The hetman groans and turns back to Bran. The old man only stares back at him, motionless. The hetman groans again, and this time turns to Oralvir and Gunnar, who stand by themselves in the corner of the hut. Will you also see this through to the end? Oralvir looks unimpressed, his eyes flickering from person to person as he stumbles over a response. Finally, he looks at Gunnar, but his colleague can only shrug. With a growl and a dark look, Oralvir waves his hand dismissively, turning away from you all again. You are still observing the raider when the hetman grabs you violently by the shoulders and pulls you towards him. He looks you straight in the eyes as he breathes hot, alcoholic breaths into your face. You are not one of us, Outlander, not from Eyetown, not from Thorwal. You are not bound by your oaths, nor by our traditions, or by our oaths, not by our traditions. But I ask you now, no matter what happens, bring my son home. Before you say anything, slowly and carefully, pull the hetman's hands from your shoulders and step back. It doesn't give you any time to process anything that has been said since the attack, but you know he expects a response. I'm not promising I'll go with them. But after what happened this evening, I don't think any of us can say what will come next. I can't make any promises. The hetman stares at you as he tries to gauge your words. Your own mind is racing too, and straight away you are unsure as to why you said it. You feel it again, that uneasiness that keeps playing at the center of your being. What is going on? You're brought back to reality by Ulfgar, who swallows down his nerves and nods. Where is this weapon, Bran? What do the stories say of it? Very little, as my memory serves. If she truly believed it would be needed again, I do not think it would have been sent out to sea with the warrior. But what happened to it, I do not know. The stories say she was from Halzingor. If she died there, perhaps they know what became of it. That is on the west coast of the Premier Peninsula. It will take some time. That is fortunate indeed that you have a ship that can make such a journey, is it not, Gunnar Runolfsson? As they speak, Raskier is talking quietly to his father, but as they finish up, so does he. He stretches out the muscles in his arm and neck, and then nods respectively to the Gaudi. I will get my things, and we shall head to the shore right away. Pack light. As Gunnar calls after him, those around you start to filter back out of Bran's hut. The last to move, even behind you, is Orelvir, who stares into the seer's bowl with his arms crossed. When he notices he is being watched, he growls again and walks past you into the night. Again, you find yourself asking how you've managed to find yourself where you have. In the space of 2 days, your life has turned completely on its head. But it isn't the threat of being driven insane that makes you nervous. Strangely, somehow, it's the uncertainty of whatever comes next. In the cold air of the outside, you feel like you finally have room to breathe and relax, and try to make sense of it all. Orelvir and Gunnar wander away from the group, talking quietly to one another. Ulfgar, Bran, and Estrid stand about the place too, quietly looking around as if not quite sure what to say or do. Some of the visitors from the feast still mill about the square. One tries to ask the hetman if everything is all right, and ask what is going on. Ulfgar simply waves them away, asking them to go to their longhouse to get some rest. Gaudi. You hear Gunnar pipe up, then see him walk briskly towards where Bran stands. Are you certain that all of this is necessary? Can this creature follow us across oceans? Must we really take the hetman's son and this stranger with us? Necessary? No, but if stories are to be believed, then there is no running from this. Which may also answer your second question. And as for the third, no, you do not have to take them with you, but the Runjas have told us that it may be your only choice. And the hetman will not respond kindly to you dooming his child to die. Overhearing all of this fills you with a new kind of nervousness that makes you regret all the more your words to the hetman. As Gunnar and Orelvir turn back to their own company, you look at the others you will now leave behind. You're going to garner any assistance from them. If you're going to garner any assistance from them, you should probably do it now. Estrid has taken a seat on a bench and rubs her hands nervously, staring into the distance in great thought. Are you all right? She rolls her neck and looks at you solemnly. I am worried for my brother, Outlander. I am not sure he is ready for what lies ahead of you. How would you prepare for such a thing, Estrid? She takes a few moments to think before she replies. I think I have to prepare for it the same way I prepare for any other fight. Do not strike unless you know your aim is true. If there is a weakness to be found, exploit it. And if all else fails, hit him before he hits you. What else should I know about facing a creature like this one? As father said, I am not bound by your oaths and traditions before you asked me to help Raskier. Why is that important? She smirks and then breaks out into a chuckle. I think you wanted to close a loophole, Outlander. Thorwallers believe in fate, that our lives are determined long before we're even born. Most Thorwallers would think of that. If you and Raskier turn away from this, you are forsaking your own destinies. But you are not a Thorwaller, and so you might decide to turn away from this at any point. My father just wanted to help my brother, even if you do not believe you are bound by any oath. Goodbye, Estrid, and good luck. I am not one to be in need of luck, Outlander. She holds out her hand for you to shake. I don't know. She could have one of those clown buzzers on her hand, so I probably shouldn't. I'm going to pick the ... When she sees you simply looking at her hand, she grimaces and clasps it shut again. Good hunting. Let's talk to Brand. Of everyone present, the god he seems most at peace. The gods watch you closely, Outlander. You must be careful now. Why have I been chosen? Why has the fiend marked me? I'm not a Thorwal. What did I do? Only the gods, the Runjas, and the fiend itself know that, Outlander. No story I know tells of why the fiend marked the victims it did. It was relentless and cared not whether they were from great families or came from nothing. All I can say is that you are bound to it now and must see this thing through to the end. Tell me more of the fiend. Only that you will likely never face an opponent the likes of it again. The magic is said to be truly horrifying. In no story does anyone wish to speak of what it shows them. I believe it was only with Travi's blessing that the warrior was able to trap the monster. You may need the gods on your side again before this is all over. Thank you for the warning, I suppose. Conversation is interrupted as Raskier walks back into the hall. He puts his leather armor over his tunic and carries his axe over his shoulder. Can we go? We can. He and Ulfgar exchange a few private words and a brief hug before he says goodbye to Estrid as well. His breath is a little shaky as he joins you, and together you walk towards where Orelvir and Gunnar stand. May the gods favor you on this quest, one and all. Good hunting. Chapter: The Keen Wolf. Orelvir and Gunnar seem in a hurry to get back to the beach, leaving you and Raskier in their wake. There is no trace of any storm that could have caused the thunder you felt in the hall. In fact, the world feels strangely the same as it always has. In some longhouses, people are still up and about, and those who were at the feast still make their way home. But overall, it is calm and quiet, and the stars in the night sky twinkle to reflect that peace. Try as you might, you can't match it, and from the grim expression on Raskier wears on his face, neither can he. Do you have a plan? Do you already have some kind of plan? You call across the gap between you and Orelvir and Gunnar, which only threatens to grow with every step. Orelvir seems to ignore the question completely, but after some moments, Gunnar turns to you. Halzingor lies on the far side of the Premier Peninsula. We'll sail from the Gulf around the peninsula. We'll be in this H-Town in about a week with good weather. And after that, Gunnar has already turned away and doesn't reply to the question, though you see him look at Orelvir again. Conversation dies down after that. It seems it is too uncomfortable, even for uncomfortable small talk, as you're all wrapped up in your memories of the night. Coming to the longhouse you've been staying in, Gunnar orders you to be quick in grabbing your things. Then you are back on the path to the beach, walking in silence throughout the night. When you get there, the beach is quiet, and as he looks around, Raskier slows to a stop. There are dozens of longships pulled up onto the pebbles, all with shields of different designs lining their hulls. But a moment later, you realize what is wrong. There isn't another single person in sight. Where is your Otajasko? I cannot believe for a moment the two of you raid alone. Gunnar flashes a toothy grin at you, then snorts and shakes his head. They await us on the water, Hetling. Your ship isn't on the beach? You look at the size of the structure of the longships bobbing up and down on the bay. It is the longship, isn't it? Gunnar laughs at the look on both your faces. He chortles as, in front of him, Orville starts pushing one of the smaller vessels into the water. We don't use an ota. We have skutas? But we have something bigger too. You'll see. He steps onto the boat after Orelvir, and it dips down as both of you look at the pair in awe. Are you coming? You glance one last time at Raskier to try and gauge his opinion. He glowers suspiciously but moves to get on board. You follow him closely, sitting next to Gunnar, so that you can row into open water. I hear creaking. As you row out into the bay, your eyes are drawn again to the starry sky. There are light wisps of cloud drawn across the sky, but still no hint of anything resembling a storm. It has been many years since you've had to row any kind of boat, and you have never rowed a Thorwalian ship. The boat feels heavier than it should underneath you. It is meant to be controlled by at least double the number of people you have. But again, you keep your breathing steady, and the rhythmic action makes it easy to keep focus. Find a point on the back of Oralvir's head that you can stare at blankly as you push yourself back and forth. You can hear his breathing, the heaviest and most labored of any of you on the ship. At several points, Raskier looks across him, and between strokes, you notice the slightly concerning look on his face. But he doesn't say anything. In fact, no one speaks at all for the entire journey, and that helps drag the time out like the ocean before you. It feels like it must have been at least an hour when you hear a shrill whistle behind you. Turn straight away and your eyes are drawn to small and bright torches that move around in the darkness ahead. Then you hear voices call, and you realize you're quickly approaching a bigger ship awaiting you in the water. You've seen cogs before. They're built in Havana, and sold to almost every seafaring nation south of the Ingval Valley. But this cog is nothing like you've ever laid eyes on. In the flickering torchlight, you see the ship's guardrail lined with Thorwalian shields. They're all of different designs and colors and overlap one another exactly as they would on a long ship. Dark sails are tied tightly to the mast. Those small folds flutter in the cold night breeze, and as you look at the prow of the ship, you see a snarling wolf carved into the wood. A slight sense of dread overcomes you the longer you look at the ship. Stop rowing. Gunnar leans over to grab the oar off you and grins at your bewilderment. We're here. The voices die down as you're hoisted up onto the deck. Cool ship, bro. I'm on a boat. With some well-trained grunts and groans, 4 people pull the skucha up with ropes. When you're at eye level with the ship's guardrail, 2 more crew members help you out onto the deck. There, one greeted by a group of at least 20 Thorwallers, and all of them stare at you as if you're a ghost. As Raskier jumps onto the deck next to you, those who helped you up drop backwards carefully. Eyes narrow and brows furrow. 1 or 2 of the group even tighten their grip on axes and swords. Well met. His deliberate and mindful greeting is met by a laugh from one of the nearest crew members. He's an older man, older even than Oralvir and Gunnar, leaning on his staff that is tucked between his crossed arms. We weren't expecting visitors, Gunnar. Behind you, Oralvir and Gunnar both step on deck too, and the crewmates start fixing the skucha to the ship's side. This is Hetman's son, and who are you exactly? Oh, I got a last name. I'm Ulrich Duranald. I think it already said that at the beginning, but I forgot. I'm a mercenary from Andergast. Many of the crews bristle at your introduction, looking from you to the sword you carry on your back. The old man seems particularly interested in the reply, eyeing you up and down with an amused smile. Amidst the conversation, you hear heavy footsteps behind you. Behind you, Oralvir is walking quickly towards the ship's aft. Watch as he storms towards what seems to be quarters, tearing the door open furiously and disappearing inside. Gunnar watches him carefully, waiting for the door to slam shut before turning his attention back to you. Never mind the visitors. Why are you back so soon? Uh-oh. We weren't expecting you for at least another night. The new speaker's a giant of a woman in the front of the crowd. She is easily as tall as Oralvir, and perhaps stronger. We'll gather around all. This will be some tale to tell. Gunnar sounds exasperated as he explains what happened in the Headman's Hall. He spares you the awkward task of explaining your perspective of events, glossing over the details incredulously. Whether they believe it or not, the crew all stand and listen while listen to the whole tale patiently. Some seem enamored, some seem skeptical, but they all pay close attention. When Gunnar is finished, they all take a few moments to take it all in. Some even mutter prayers. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting that. The Fiend of the Restless One. This will truly be a task for the age, or for the saga, sorry. I can scarcely believe it. I wouldn't either, had I not witnessed it all for myself. Gunnar flashes you a scolding look for your interjection, but then nods and looks around the crew again. Yes, Orville the Outlander and the Hetling must face this. This Hrangarskin, this demonoid, whatever it is. What of us? The warrior woman indicates the rest of the Alta Jasko stood behind her, who were still paying close attention to you and Raskir. A wild and excited grin crosses her face. Can we help? Yes, maybe. I don't know. Gunnar rolls his eyes as a fierce murmur rolls across those around you. He holds his hand out as if to stop them. It is not important now. First, we make for Olsingor. I don't know how to say this word. Man, I don't know how to say so many words in this game. Time is wasting. Let's go. I'm sure if I played the RPG, I would hear these names and places all the time. Or played more Aventuria, I guess. As the group begins to disperse, you try to get a measure for Raskir's thoughts on your new traveling companions. For the first time since boarding, the Keen Wolf, there's a glimpse of recognition in his eyes. As if he's suddenly seeing something familiar again. Many eyes still watching you suspiciously as the crew goes about its business. Both the warrior woman and the old man look you both up and down once more before moving on. And then your attention is pulled away from them again as Gunnar pulls you and Raskir into close conversation. If you're to be aboard this ship, you'll help run it like the rest of us. Is that clear? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to sail a ship like this. Gunnar laughs heartily. You'll learn quickly. Welcome aboard the Keen Wolf. Act 2? Whoa, what is going on here? I don't know how long this game is, but to be honest, I was expecting like 2 hours probably to stream this thing and probably beat it. I didn't expect it to be as long as it is, and like, it was interesting. There's more here than I thought there would be. Yeah, we're definitely on a boat trying to reach some place, and I know when we get to that place, there's going to be stuff like the scene where we're in that town. We're probably going to have to deal with some things we arrive to there before eventually getting to this final monster beast thing. But is that even the end? I don't know. I definitely don't think I'm finishing this today. There's more game here than I thought. I don't know if I'll finish it at all, to be honest. Since it's a story game, I don't know if I want to spoil it all on stream, but so far it's pretty cool, man. The art and the sound effects are really, really well done. The writing is fine, definitely good. My reading needs work, but some of the words and pronunciations, like, I'm not really familiar with the world and stuff, so but if you're into like the Viking theme stuff, I guess it's probably, and you know how to say those kind of words, then it's fine. But normally I'd be reading this all in my head and just kind of skip past that stuff. But so get to work is the next thing. On your first full day aboard the Keen Wolf, Gunnar puts you and your companions straight to work, but the other members of the crew have their own plans for you too. Yeah, see, there's gonna be like a whole thing on just the boats, like, and we're 4 boats worth here, or oh, these are the levels of the boat, right? So we have the top, like the top deck, I guess. Like there's 2, and then this is inside the ship. That's kind of neat. So right now we're like, it's showing we're in like the hull or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it there, to be honest. I don't know. Let me just start this. I just want to see what's going on here. Yeah, this is literally like reading a storybook. Like when I'm reading this, I'm picturing reading like a paperback novel. It's definitely more story than it is in the Aventuria games for sure. Like this is a full out like, yeah, they wrote like a whole, you know, novel of story. It feels like, and then they were like, all right, let's turn this into like a visual novel, basically. Like they weren't joking. This is like truly a novel with pictures and sounds and some choice. I don't know how much choice you really have, though. I just know it does say in the description there's like alternate endings, and you can play as 2 different characters. So I don't know if both characters go on the same exact journey, and there's just like different text and how they act and their backstories is different and stuff. I'm curious, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And it is story time with Rob, exactly what it is. I'm just reading story basically and making choices. Like the amount of times we've got to spend endurance and worry about our health was only like, it feels like a handful of times in 3-ish hours plus of gaming. So it's definitely more heavy on the reading and novel side of things. It's like I said, this game needs to be like, if you have a Steam Deck or a laptop that's comfortable to just chill, lay back in a chair or on the couch, that's what this game is for, and just sit there and tapping away on the screen. This is like the perfect tablet game. I just don't know if it's on like Android or iOS. That I don't know. I don't know how to find out. Because they only gave me the option, like they just said they had a Steam code. Sometimes publishers reach out and they're like, we have this game. Do you want to check it out? Pick your system. Like they could offer me a Switch code or Xbox and all these kind of platforms. And that's how I usually know what platforms it's available on. I have a feeling this is only on PC. Let's save our game. Save game. Oh, I thought I had to click that to change the name. Okay, well, we have a couple of saves. Okay, cool. Oh, it even changed the background to like where we are in the game, I think. That's cool. Okay, hold on. I want to check here. Let's see if we can find... Let's see what some Google Foo will find us. Is this just a PDF you can buy of this whole story? Yes. Oh, this is the art book. This is the art book that is on Steam. Sorry, this is just the art book. Can I switch? I know we're on the German site. That's also a problem. Let's go back. Go to Ulysses International. Maybe we can find information here. I do love this, like, the theme song in the beginning, though. It's awesome. Very epic. Sounds nice in the headphones. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting anything here. These guys are not the greatest with their marketing. That is for sure. Definitely scream of, like, a small publisher. Let's try to just find Ulysses Digital again. Digital Archive? Oh, Brett says not on Android as of now. Okay. Only PC, right? I think. That's the only thing I know. I should have asked the publisher before I streamed it. That would have made more sense, but usually they give me information too if like I'm curious. They usually have like some kind of marketing material to go with it. Yeah, there's the other character. That's Nadim, who we played in the Aventuria board game. Or we played at her palace or whatever. Trying to help her. It looks like she's... They probably go on the same journey. I would assume. There she is on the same ship, so. Velko says play Batman next. No, no, no. The next game we're gonna play is Awaken Realms hooked me up with codes for Nemesis Distress and Nemesis Lockdown. So they have a digital version of Nemesis Lockdown. I'm gonna try to play that next week. It's supposedly like just a, you know, kind of like Gloomhaven digital, you know, like a digital adaptation of the board game. But then they also have this like first person kind of horror game thing going on called Nemesis Distress. And Distress I'm going to play tomorrow, I think. I scheduled the stream already, so you can set a reminder for that. I don't know about this one. I was going to leave tomorrow open and continue this game if it was longer and we wanted to keep it going. But I don't know. Maybe I'll play a bit more of this next week if I want to continue it on stream. But I might just leave it because I don't want to play the whole thing out. If like any of you are interested in it, you're going to just go play it yourself. What I would recommend is add it to your Steam wish list if you're interested, because the Steam summer sale stuff will be coming up soon. So you might be able to grab this game on a discount. So I don't know what the US price is, but Canadian is $22, like $23. But so far, I don't know how long it is, but it has at least 3 hours of content. I'm going to assume we were not even probably halfway through it based on the story ahead they were describing and stuff. And based on the other scenarios we had earlier today, I'm picturing at least 2-3 more hours of stuff in the game, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's shorter. Maybe the end comes abruptly. Maybe it's like extra long. I don't know. Actually, let's check if there's any reviews. Are there any reviews? Oh, here's the most helpful review from Lambert. Says, this is a graphic novel as choose your own adventure with some lightly animated backgrounds. The atmosphere and story are important. This isn't an RPG, and if you expect one, then you'll be disappointed. If you like to enjoy the Viking story, on the other hand, it is great. Well written, engaging, and atmospheric. Yeah, atmospheric, that's the word. That's the word. I'm talking about visuals, the sound effects and stuff. Yes, atmospheric. That is the word I should have used there. If you're interested in the world of the Dark Eye, brackets Aventuria, then it is a must-have. We got a pre-release review from Balorlord. CYOA. Cover your own ass. Is that what that is? With gorgeous art and meaningful choices, it is great to see the game set in the Dark Eye universe finally make its way to Steam. While the lack of any combat system might be a deterrent to those looking for more of an RPG, Wolves on the Westwind still manages to feel like a daring and dangerous adventure, worth a look if you're the fan of visual novel type games. Yeah, which I was saying earlier, like, do not confuse this with like a full out RPG. You might think it's more of like, you know, the way like some RPGs get turned into like, you know, Final Fantasy and these kind of JRPG type games that are like pretty long, heavy, grindy stats, gameplay, tons of systems to learn. Yeah, this is not that. And lots of side quests and things like that. I feel like this is more of like a straightforward story, which is neat. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't compare it to those. This visual novel is awesome, says Svig. The story and characters are intriguing, and the artwork is beautiful. The music is excellent and perfect for the setting. Yeah, I do love the music. Whoa, 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 whoa. 10 hours in, playing as the male protagonist and thoroughly enjoying the experience. Okay, it is a good thing I did not try to play this all in one stream and just keep going. I was probably going to stop in about an hour anyway, a hard stop. So yeah, we would have only got like halfway through, or not even. This person's 10 hours in and doesn't even know how long it is. Okay, that's interesting. Actually, I want to look at this person is 8.6 hours when they reviewed it. This person played 10 minutes. Is that, or 6 minutes? 0.1 hours? Point 0.1 is only like 6 minutes. This guy reviewed it. Yeah, this guy's lazy. He didn't even play it. Yeah, Lord, you're a horrible person. And Lambert here's played 1.6 hours at review time, but has 3.1 hours on record. Okay. Yeah, I guess after like an hour and a half, you kind of seen all the things, like the systems and things, like, you know, the choices and stuff and how that all works, the music, the graphics and the characters and all that kind of thing, the writing. Yeah. Couple hours in, you know what you're getting into. Look at 14.5 hours on record for Zvig. Do you think Zvig beat it at that point? Probably. Okay, that gives us an estimation of how long it is. But Zvig may have started a new game. Like maybe it's like 12 hours long. And then Zvig started again as a different character because that would still just record the same time played or whatever. It would just keep adding to the same clock, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Yeah. Thanks for checking out Forgotten Fables, Wolves of the Westwind. Or Wolves on the Westwind. Again, published by the same publishers who make the Aventuria board games and the Dark Eye RPG, Ulysses Spiel Digital. There is a link to this game on Steam in the video description if you're curious about more information and you want to read up on it, read some more reviews, add your own review, play the game, add it to wish list, check out the expansions. I don't know. It's all there. Linked in the video description. So we'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to try, assuming it all works. I haven't even booted the game up yet. But I did schedule a stream for tomorrow, so hopefully it all works. I'll just move it if it doesn't work and I have to reach out to the publisher to try to get the game to work properly or something weird. But it should be fine. But we'll be playing Nemesis Distress, which looks like it's like a kind of like a survival horror first person kind of, or third person. I forget what it is. I think it's first person. Based on the information in the trailer I was looking at. It's a game based in the same theme and world as the Nemesis board games that we played on the channel and we love. I haven't played Nemesis Lockdown. I don't know if I'll ever play the physical game, but I've been told it's very similar to the other Nemesis. So there is a digital adaptation of the board game in early access. So I'm going to play that probably next week also. So if you're interested in all things Nemesis digitally, you're in the right place. We'll be playing that stuff, so stay tuned. Our 15,000 subscriber celebration. We're doing that on Saturday, so in 2 days from this stream. Come join us for that. We're going to do a Q&A, just kind of chill, reminisce, answer questions, that kind of stuff, hang out, have some drinks, and celebrate reaching 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you, everybody who subscribes, who helped us reach that. And subscribe if you're not to help us reach 20K. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And then Sunday, we're playing some more Burn Cycle. We're going to play 2-player, play 3-floor scenario from Chip Theory Games, Burn Cycle. And then next week, I have scheduled on Tuesday, but I might move it depending on what's going on. But I just scheduled it because I want to put myself to playing it, is the Lord of the Rings living card game starter decks. Like I said, I want to play with some of those and experiment with them. So we're going to try the first one on stream, see how it goes, see if you guys are interested in it. And we're going to play the Elves deck, and we're going to try to run it through the Dark of Mirkwood standalone scenarios in the Lord of the Rings living card game re-released second edition kind of stuff, whatever it's called. The playing with just revised core set and beyond. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to try the first one, see how that goes, and if it's a success, if you guys enjoy it, and I'm enjoying it, we'll do another one. We'll try to do all the decks, go through them. Maybe do some features, kind of tweaking decks and changing things and looking at the card pool. As long as there's interest, I'll keep doing it. But yeah, that's the plan so far. Anyways, hope to see you guys in the next stream. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.